My dad had one job to book the venue he had connections with. He totally thought he did, and yet I found out he didn't 1 week before.
Oh,
and this is for a wedding.
When another wedding booked it. Mom almost left him. I love the mom in this. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the AITA Pod. I'm joined by I'm Danny Vega, first of all. Wow. Maybe I'm a little nervous with you guys. I'm actually with two really great guests. These are some wonderful, warm comedians. I'm here with our returning guest, but it's been a while. Kari Assad, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. I love being here.
It's great to have you. And we're joined by, I didn't know you guys were friends, another very wonderful, warm comedian, Aisha Alpha. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I love it. Are you guys friends outside of
Oh my gosh, can we tell you about our friendship?
We're friends.
Yeah.
And we've hung out. And I came over to her house, which was a group event. But she pulled me aside. She said, "This is our first time hanging out."
Wait, what?
And I'm nervous about it.
I'm nervous.
Because, okay, so I have like really loved Kari from like afar, I think, for a long time.
Same.
And so we're like, and I did your podcast.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, is this the moment? Like, should I ask if we can be friends? And I was like, how do people ask if you can be friends? And then there was like another, like a wrap-up party where it was like a amazing Korean barbecue, which
really
is my
good.
favorite.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, it's time. But like, it was as if I was like asking her to marry me.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was like, okay, I really want to be friends with you. Can we be friends? And then I had some ladies over and I was like, oh my God, like you have to come. And then she came and I was like, oh my gosh, my dreams are coming true. Like, I was so happy.
Also, just to go back to the barbecue, Aisha brought a card saying how cool we are.
Cool we are.
And to keep doing cool things.
Yes.
And and also like my story with Aisha is I worked for Hoo Ha Ha. And part of that was like spotting people who were cool and giving them like a spotlight. And Aisha would submit all this amazing stuff to us. So it felt like I was stalking her for years. Because we went to like a movie night with Sophia Zolan, who's amazing. And Sophia was like, do you guys know each other? And I went, yeah. But I said it like that because I felt like a creepy stalker person who has been stalking her for years.
And I was probably trying to play it cool, like, I know her from online.
No, you were
like, I really want to be friends with her.
You were like, why did you say it like that? And then I had to be like, because I feel like I'm stalking you. I feel like I know all your shorts and everything in your albums and everything you've made.
So now we're like friends who've hung out in real life. We're like real life friends.
We're like real and stuff.
That's great.
It's going really well. We're going to get a house.
Do it. Divorce him. Yeah. Actually, we're going to talk about Aisha's husband. Well, Kari, you do have, and I've told people about it too, you just have this warmth and magnetism.
Yeah.
I think it's particularly rare in LA as well. Because there's a lot of like, hi, I love you. And it's like this
your eyes
fake.
hurt.
Exactly. But like right away when I knew you, I felt that about you. I was like, no, she's like nice but means it. And we're doing a wedding episode.
Yay!
So yeah, Kari, you got married recently.
No, I'm engaged.
You're engaged. You're engaged.
That would be amazing. If the wedding
when is it?
When is the wedding? We're hoping for April 2026.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you were engaged when we
June.
went on the road.
We got engaged in
Okay,
June. Yeah.
So you said we're going to be very discreet here, but you did create a pro and cons list
of like
we're just jumping
every wedding
of every wedding you've ever been to.
Not every wedding, but like as an adult, going as an adult with like your partner.
And so you're sort of looking at weddings you've been to and being like, what do we want? And
what do we not want?
So do you have any highlights you can share with us?
So I'm going to start with con just because it's more dramatic. Con, just make sure your temperature is correct. Like
your temperature,
like
the
I
weather?
think people, the weather. I think people are like, this is my dream venue. This is what I want. And they don't think what could go wrong and how that could really make for a really different day.
Yeah.
Like we went to one wedding in downtown LA, which thank you for picking that venue because we didn't have to take any days off. It was like a big, beautiful church. And I think it was like the bride's like dream destination wedding, even though it was just in her backyard. But we get there and I was like, it's so hot. Like
Oh my God.
it was, we were dying. I had a LaCroix from the car ride over and I just brought it into the church because it was too hot.
Oh.
And I kept saying to like the other guests around us, I was like, when are they going to turn the air conditioning on? Like, when are they going to turn it on? And then someone was like, don't you know it's broken? And not only was it broken and that this was a September wedding in Los Angeles, it was the first day of the heat wave back in 22. So we're all just like dying and like sweating. And also on top of that, it's a Greek Orthodox wedding. And
so it's long.
No.
And 90% standing. So,
Yeah.
So like we were all just
triple
like
witching.
Yes.
I hate it.
And we were all just dying. I think I saw like images, like I was like hallucinating at one point, and I was like, I feel like this is a test. This isn't about them anymore. This is like a test. They're like, who doesn't fall loves us the most. Like it was really like
you get a cash bonus at the end.
or like who they're keeping in their new life as like a couple.
You're all gonna like transcend to the next level.
Yeah.
In a drunken, hot stupor. I do think I've been to a hot wedding as well.
Yeah.
Not fun. I can't remember though going to a wedding and feeling cold. Like maybe a little chilly.
I can't.
Well, you're in a dress.
We're in a dress, and like I think women are colder by nature. Or did I make that up?
I'm always cold.
I'm
always cold.
There's a Spanish word which literally means like person gets cold. Friolente. I'm a big time. Well, it's kind of recent. I haven't been to a wedding. I lost a lot of weight, and I'm like, I'm literally always fucking cold now. It's so annoying.
I feel like it's really common after weight loss specifically.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's like a blanket.
What did a freelance? This is why I don't speak Spanish because I always butcher it. Freelance.
I'm probably butchering it, but yeah, freelance.
My mom is that.
One who
like
gets cold.
me and my mom are twins and always being cold. Like we're made for like desert sun. But like there was another wedding and it was in Washington State. And what happens the most in Washington State? Do you guys know weather-wise?
PNW rain. The reason it's a deal breaker for me.
So 80% of this wedding was scheduled to be outside.
Oh, no.
And we did do
the guts of this.
The wedding was beautiful. The ceremony was beautiful. It was sprinkling. Okay. And then I actually wasn't there for this part. Mark was there, and another woman, or a friend of ours was there. Another woman, a woman was standing there with Mark, our friend, and like apparently, so I'm with the bride, like getting her ready to do like the reception. It was my first bridesmaid wedding, but Mark's out there with the wedding planner and our friend, and apparently the wedding planner sees the rain and turns to them and goes, "Oh my God, it's raining. I don't know what to do."
Girl.
And I just say, as a former wedding planner, first of all, where they live, you should always have a contingency plan. Like always. But like you always have a trick up your sleeve, whether it's like even just a tarp you're bringing out to like put over the grandmas or something.
Yeah.
Like you cannot. And then turn to the people and go, what do you guys think?
What do you guys think?
And then like, I guess, according to Mark, all of the guests turned into labor and they like just hauled everything inside, which was like, I guess, a great community moment for the couple, you know, but it was very stressful.
Yeah, I was at a wedding where it rained recently. It wasn't bad. It was a drizzle. It was in Cancun. And
I feel like
that sounds nice.
Different.
It was kind of nice. It was kind of like a tropical warm rain.
Yeah.
Was it on the beach? So you're like in you're not like in suits and stuff.
Everyone's in
suits. It was basically like on a like kind of like maybe like 20 feet or like 10 feet above the beach, but like on a beach basically. And I have to say I liked it. It was enough to like be an issue where we had to like go under an awning.
Yeah.
But it came and it went, and it was like, oh, they added some drama.
Yeah. It's supposed to be good luck too.
Was that?
Rain is supposed to be good luck.
Rain is supposed to be good luck.
Yeah. I think that might just be a wives' tale to make people feel better when it rains on their wedding.
The wives they're like, we got to spin this problem.
Yeah. I love that they have like a website.
They have
we're
gonna
get it all together.
I think it's like a fear everyone has, but like contingency plan, obviously, but it's also like everyone is on your side. Like we all want the wedding.
Yeah, everyone wants you to be happy.
People will work together. Like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, and
for a wedding planner, like this person feels like perhaps they're not suited for this profession.
I would say so.
Because you have to be like 15 steps ahead at all times.
I want to do a snow wedding. That's my fantasy.
Oh, that's so
beautiful.
precious.
Yeah.
I
feel like no one does it. And it's white themed. I mean, it fucking works.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more of a tropical wedding person because I'm cold. And like, I saw a venue that I was like, I love this venue so much, but it was all outdoors. And we want to do April. So cousin Sonia can come. Hey, Sonia. And and like the idea of me being potentially cold made
Yeah.
me not want to do that venue
Yeah.
because I was like, I
Ooh,
love this venue
chilly.
so much. Like, I wish there was like a guarantee it'd be like nice
No
and
cold
warm
guarantee.
enough. And like,
Yeah.
they had like tarps and like heaters, but I saw like photos of brides in like jackets, and I was like, I really don't want to be
Out-
wearing a jacket.
yeah.
Outdoor heaters are like
Yeah.
a psychological trick. Like,
Yeah.
let's not kid her. Oh, you're
Yeah.
gonna heat the outdoors?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Yeah. Thank you. So we have any
Yeah.
pros, things that you were like?
Pro, I think just the idea, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about planning events and like being comfortable. Like, I feel like one of my favorite weddings, it was my friend Alyssa's wedding. Hey, Alyssa. She had hers in San Luis Obispo at the Madonna Inn.
Oh, fun.
And it was just like, it was so nice because like our sleeping, like we decided to spend the night there. So like the hotel was there. So we could walk 5 feet to our hotel. Like I had a costume change.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh, we love
Amazing.
And,
convenient
like-
lodging.
And also like there was something of the vibe about it. I'm sure it was stressful for the bride. But we talked to like her family and everyone was so nice to us. And like I had friends there, but they were like college friends, people I haven't seen in a few years. But still, everyone was just so relaxed and like welcoming. And I think that's like what me and Mark, like when we're looking at venues, we're like really thinking about the proximity of like hotel to the venue and the
Yeah, I
idea
love
of like
that.
just kind of creating a welcoming feel.
Yeah.
You know, and like my friend that I was the bridesmaid for, like that was all like in her in-laws house. So that's still kind of like the same vibe of like welcoming and fun and like ease. I think ease.
Ease is great.
That is the best.
Yeah.
So many brides are so stressed out on their wedding day. And you're
Yeah.
like, this is something you've paid so much money for. You've planned. You've done all this
Yeah.
work for. And then they like miss it.
Yeah.
And so it's like being able to like have something that you actually enjoy.
Right.
That you feel comfortable at.
Yeah.
That your guests are going to enjoy.
Yeah.
Like that was my number one thing. Like, I'm like, I hope Josh comes, but also more importantly, I hope I get to eat all the food and dance and have a good time.
It is funny because you're like, oh yeah, you're here too.
I know,
Like
like,
for the
You're here.
And I mean, we got married in a place that was really hard to get to, and it was
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere. So we booked all the hotels around,
Yeah.
and like booked blocks of rooms so people could get them.
Yeah.
And then we had buses taking people to
Where
and
was
from.
this?
That's wonderful.
It was in the middle of the woods in New Hampshire.
In the middle of the woods.
And there's like no cell phone access. Like it's like
That's
really,
kinda
his
nice.
family has this
It's
family
giving
farm.
like witch blood sacrifice.
It's very much. It
energy.
felt like I was going the
Middle.
first time I went to this place. I felt like I was in Get Out.
Yeah.
because
I
Josh
could
was
see
white,
why
and I
you'd
was
feel
like,
that way.
Oh boy.
But his grandparents had this like tree farm that his whole family goes to every year in the summer and for like the Christmas holidays, and it's just this stunning place. And so when we got engaged, I was like, you want to get married there, right? And he was like, obviously. And so we went to this little spot in just across the border in Maine, which is a music venue. And my whole thing was that they had like, basically there's not a lot of options. So I was like,
Yeah.
cool. You guys do you. I'm just
You
going to
guys-
show up. Like, I'm just going to show up and I want to eat all the food.
Enjoy it.
And they were so great
Yeah.
about that. And they were the ones who organized the buses so people could like have drinks and like
That's
they
wonderful.
sent them home. They sent them home with boxes of pizza. Like our wedding, people still talk about the food from our wedding.
Yeah.
And we got married in 2018.
I've seen this pulled off at one wedding. It was the best wedding I've ever been to. Did not.
Give them a shout out. Who are they?
They are divorced.
Oh,
but
that's right.
Oh,
unfortunately, there's no
man.
correlation. Scientists have studied this. You
Oh,
can
like
have a
the-
great banger wedding does not equal
Yes.
successful marriage.
Fair.
unfortunately.
I mean, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so the way it worked was there was like multiple settings. It was like a pretty big property. And the music, so you would kind of come in and there was like a holding area energy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, we're all here. And like there was like hors d'oeuvres floating around, you know. And then a band would just start playing. And everyone's like, okay, I guess we like go toward the band.
Yeah.
So then you're there with the bands. And then you would go to a new zone for like that was like the pre-cocktails by a pool. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then another band would start playing.
Love it.
Let's go to the other band.
Yeah.
There were 3 bands.
That's
Whoa.
amazing.
So sick.
That's amazing. It's
That's
like a
so
music
cool.
festival.
Yeah, exactly.
Ours
That's
is
awesome.
gonna, I've told people like, because I do comedy and Mark is music. And I told people, I was like, there will be so much music at our wedding. There will not be any comedy.
Yes. Do
Oh.
not.
No
Yeah.
comedy at our wedding.
And everyone always thinks like, oh, comedy, that'd be a great idea. It's like, no, that's a bad idea.
No,
It's
no,
a really
no,
bad
no.
idea.
Yeah.
I almost lost a friend because I volunteered to do comedy at her wedding. It was bad.
I-
we got out of it.
This
eventually, but-
where I was a bridesmaid, I had to give a speech and she's like, I know it's gonna be so funny. And I was like so nervous.
Yeah, people expect it to be like a comedy
Yes.
routine essentially with like
Yeah.
heart. I'm like,
And
at my brother's wedding, I gave a speech where I was like very, very drunk.
yeah.
And I just like went off the fly. And the first half, my mom was like, we all were like, we have to pull the microphone because I was talking about how my brother like was so mean to my boyfriends and I was going to be mean to her. And they were like, oh my God, she doesn't like her. What's going on? And then I like flipped it into the story about how like when I met her, there was no way I could be mean. She was so wonderful. And everyone was like on edge and then crying and then laughing. And
Oh
they
my
were like, this is the most emotional roller coaster, but like great speech. And I don't know what I said. I was so drunk
funny.
because I was just
my
drinking with her family the whole day and I didn't really know them. So I was just like champagne, no food. Okay, do a speech
Yeah.
now.
It also is like the journey of a drunk person.
Yeah.
Like cry, like mad, angry,
yeah, and then,
cry,
like, yeah.
happy, laugh.
We should move in together, you know, like that.
So
Yeah,
funny.
it was,
I've given two
It was a
wedding
great time.
speeches. One, I think I was a younger man and it was a bit of a botch. I
Uh-huh.
was the best man. I went pure roast.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything sincere.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You know, and I regret it. I should
Yeah.
have really kind of taught some sincerity. But I did kill. Like, you know, I mean, let's be honest. It's an easy fucking kill,
Yeah.
folks. But
Yeah.
my friend saw it, and so he was smart. So that he was like, you can talk at my wedding. You're not the best man, but I'll let you talk, but not at the wedding, at the like whatever it's called. What's it called?
Rehearsal.
The
Like,
reception.
dinner.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so I was like allowed to go pure roast, but I'd learned that lesson. I was like, let's throw in some sincere bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is my most heinous joke that actually offended two people, not the people getting married, some fucking complainer. And I said, trigger warning. I said, the question isn't who is going to divorce who, the bride or the groom. The question is who's going to kill themselves first. And then I like motioned to the audience and like a couple of people yelled out. And I was like, no, it's their first child.
Oh gosh. Okay, that's pretty dark. Yeah.
It raged. But yeah, two people actually complained and they're like, that was way too much. And like, it was like a friend too. I was like, okay, like, dude, like,
Yeah.
can you not?
That is weird to complain at a wedding because it's like, it's not a repeat event. I mean, hopefully it's not a repeat event.
Yeah.
This is like a one-time thing.
I want to talk to the manager.
Yeah,
of
I
this
wanna talk
wedding.
to the
Well,
manager.
yeah, and it's not like I was a hired person. It's
Yeah.
like, no, bro, you're complaining. You just don't like my friend,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
fine. Don't like
Yeah.
him, you know?
I mean, I have seen some pretty brutal speeches at
Me
weddings,
too.
and it's like we were talking about earlier. There's something inside of me that is like tuck in. This is gonna be the best thing
Oh
ever.
my
to
God,
just
you're like
watch
excited.
the devastation happen. But I mean, as a wedding planner, I was always like, okay, at some point I have to come in and like I would like literally like pull mics away or something like that.
Oh.
But
you were a really good.
oh,
wedding
I'm like
planner.
honestly. It like there's another universe where I'm killing it as a wedding planner.
Yeah,
like
do you wanna-
I'm good.
You
at
are
hit us
J-Lo.
with some
Yeah.
hit us with some highlights. What's your like maybe your most heroic wedding planner story or something like that?
Okay, so we had one couple and they were lovely. I loved them so much. They booked their wedding, they sent out their invitations, and like a month before, the venue let them know they accidentally double booked. And so they had to find a new venue and a new day.
Did the venue do anything, or are they just
The
like,
venue
we
gave them
messed
some money
up?
to find a new
They
place.
did, okay.
But it's like, it's pretty like
What
people who
like-
could come to one wedding couldn't come to the other one.
Oh my
so
god,
it was
it's a
like really
nightmare.
tough.
Do you think they gave like 50% or like? Because I mean, it's so
I don't know.
planned
Like they
ahead.
only had given a deposit. So I think they gave like their deposit back and like maybe some other like a couple $100s to help find a venue. It wasn't a lot. But the cool thing was this couple was like, oh, okay, well, let's try and find somewhere else, I guess. Like they were just so chill. And then like 2 weeks before, their music person who was doing all the music for everything also told them that he had double booked and so they didn't have any music. And we were like, what is happening? And they were like, all right, well, we'll figure it out.
This couple
and
is
so
just second priority couple for everyone.
they're
too chill and they hang out with two
Yeah.
chill people
they
too.
were, and I was like, these people are gonna stay together forever. So we did that, and
You
then
wanna stay
we got them fireworks. So like we helped find all this stuff. We got like deals for them and everything. We just love them, and we were just like, they're so chill. So we got them deals on everything. We got them more than they asked for everything, and then we got them fireworks. And so at one point we're like, no, let's come outside, and they thought it was for pictures, and then there was
Yeah.
just like all these fireworks
that's
everywhere.
Aw, that's
from
so
us.
beautiful.
Let's add that to
Yeah.
the pros list.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually, double bonus, recent wedding I went to, surprise fireworks like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it sends it. You just don't expect it. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's like
So
such a
great.
special, even if you don't like fireworks, it's still like, oh, this is pretty cool.
That is really
like, it's
cool.
a pretty cool thing.
I've seen like the sparkler moment. I feel like they don't have fireworks, but they bring out sparklers.
Oh, yeah.
For
Yeah,
you.
we'll do.
And,
In a state
like,
where it's illegal,
cute.
we'll do the sparklers.
We'll do
Oh
the
yeah, here that'd be
sparklers.
that
know,
could
right?
start off a whole new wildfire.
Hey, wildfire, that's another firework. Let's go. Let's take it up the hill.
Never mind. I didn't say that.
Yeah. And I will say, at the risk of making it awkward, I think you're underselling yourself a little bit, Aisha.
Oh,
Because
thank
obviously you
you.
have a
Yeah.
great personality. I don't know you well, but
Yeah.
not well. You're
Thank
fun.
you.
You light
You're
up every
charismatic.
room.
But you're also one of those people like, I saw you on Instagram and I was like, oh yeah, she's funny, she's cute, whatever. Then I met you in person. I'm like, oh, you're the most beautiful woman in the entire
Yeah.
world.
Oh
like,
my gosh,
okay.
you guys.
You know, like you don't
this is,
know.
like,
She's
so-
like, no one's ever said that.
I legit feel like half the time I'm like a troll who like crawled out from a
Oh.
bridge. So I'm always like I'll look, I think all my friends are beautiful, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't have to wear makeup, they just like look good.
Yeah.
And like I had like, but lately I feel like my skin has been like good, and I've been
Yeah.
like feeling good, and I've been feeling happy. So perhaps that's what's like coming out of me. But that makes me feel very, very good.
No,
and
yeah, I
nice.
think you're absolutely beautiful and
Oh,
wonderful.
thank you.
I was nervous
And he's
to talk
lucky to
you.
have you.
I was nervous. I wanted to kill your husband. I wanted to fuck your husband. I had like, it was like Oedipal. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a problem.
Yeah. He's an elven king. Just, what am I supposed
I
to
like how
do?
your compliments are Lord of the Rings, which doesn't really feel
That
like
is
an
the
attract-
highest compliment.
Is that
to me.
attractive for you?
For attraction, yes, because my like hottest Harry Potter. Like if I was a
loves Harry
boy,
Potter.
those pages would have been sticky. Like I was just so horned up.
We got a mega wedding app for you guys. We're gonna do a bunch of chaotic wedding stories. Those are just gonna be fun. We're gonna gun through those, and we got some AITAs we're gonna read, which I thought were really great. We're gonna do AITA for backing out of my friend's wedding after she gossiped about my breakup.
Oh.
AITA if I don't go to my sister's courthouse wedding. But first, we got a lot of chaos. Aisha, start us off.
The main hostess for the reception of about 30 guests, which I'm guessing is kind of like a wedding planner. She carried the 3-tier wedding cake rather than using a cart. She carried it. She not only dropped it, but fell face first into it on the floor. First, dead silence, then a few giggles, and then her emotional breakdown like I have never seen before. She was completely devastated from both the embarrassment and ruining that special moment. We eventually assured her that we're half drunk and we don't care about the cake. The best part was she easily collected $1,000 more than she would have for her tip if that had not happened.
Wow. I can't believe they tipped her more.
It was a blessing in disguise.
I mean,
she just wanted to be tipped.
I feel like
You think she did it on purpose?
Your mom's calling. I feel like what a move. If she did that on purpose, what like an Andy Kaufman move for like getting more money.
Yeah.
Genius.
But like I feel the pressure of this woman, and like I'm guessing that she had some stuff going on, because if she's a person who has done this job more than once,
Right.
you never carry a cake. Even if it's one tier, you never ever carry it. You cart it,
You cart
or
it.
you have multiple people. Like you just never. It's so easy to drop a cake,
Too hard.
and
yeah.
it's, you know what I mean. Like you can like
Yeah.
slip on like anything. And so there's already something probably going on where she's like thinking
Not
about something
fully
else.
present.
And then to
Yeah.
have that happen and in front
her
of
transmission
people,
broke. She's
yeah.
like, I'm carrying the cake.
Like I feel like she's like, I owe like $10,000 to the government. I need to make this. Like there's just like some
That's gotta
many things
happen.
going on.
Government.
And then to have everyone start laughing and like you're covered in cake. It feels like you're like when like that Carrie moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like where it's like you're on stage and,
And
everyone's like
everyone's looking
laughing
at
and
you.
looking,
Yeah.
and it's just like devastating. So I understand the breakdown and the full on mental break, because you're just like, how much worse could it possibly get?
Yeah.
Let's see.
okay,
baby.
but blessing in disguise. I mean, if I saw this, first of all, nobody needs cake that bad.
And also,
you
wedding
ate
cake
enough
is generally
already.
gross.
You ate enough already, Aunt Cletus. And then
Cletus?
tell me you're gonna remember this forever. You're never gonna forget it. Like,
you're
it's the
never
most
gonna
memorable
forget
thing
it.
that can happen.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you shouldn't do it on purpose. But
No.
like, it's
Yeah.
really funny.
I was joking about her faking it. I have been a server and I have dropped trays of water on people. And
no,
and
a
it is-
whole tray.
Yeah. But to my credit, I used to work only late night shifts. So like anywhere from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. like midnight to 5 a.m.
No,
so these are
wow.
people coming in.
They're
drunk.
Like drunk
Yeah.
and drugged.
You
And it
just
was
woke
like,
them up.
it was the same group. They would always come in like Saturday morning at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was so pissed off, and I was always pissed at that time. And so like I come, I'm trying to give them the water just everywhere. And I think both like me and them, we all just like stared for a minute. And I was like, I'll be right back.
No, like so
Not
sorry,
even
just like
super
I'll just be
sorry,
back.
just
I'll be
like
back.
I'll be back. Yeah, like I was just so angry, and I feel like they were more like it's okay, and I was like, yeah.
Here's another one. My dad had one job to book the venue he had connections with. He totally thought he did, and yet I found out he didn't 1 week before.
Oh,
And this is for a wedding.
When another wedding booked it. Mom almost left him. I love the mom in this. I personally talked to the bride's mom over beers and we worked it out. Dad is still grilled about it today, almost 6 years later. Other bride kept her original time and kept her reception venue the same. I mean Dad, paid for the outdoor seating install and removal. I had to bump my wedding to 2 hours later, and Dad had to call all the guests personally
Oh my gosh.
to tell them we had to change the time. The other bride graciously made sure her guests and pictures were done before our guests arrived.
Oh, that's
Little
nice
juggle.
cooperation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it
lovely.
worked out.
I just love the dad though. He's like, yeah, how are you guys? We're good. What's up? Oh yeah, I forgot a thing. We gotta move the wedding. What do you mean we booked a lot of stuff? Well, yeah, I messed up.
There's
It's
that.
all on me. I feel the mom leaving the dad over that because like we're baby steps into planning this wedding. And my mom is like through the roof about it. Like
excited or
excited,
like
but easily
War.
turned to anger. You know, like
Wow.
we were like talking about guests and who could and couldn't come. And I really want what we talked about earlier about joy.
Yeah.
So there are some family members that I may not invite, not like because I don't even like them. I'm like, I haven't seen you in 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
It's like Marie Kondo. Like, do you
Yeah.
bring joy?
Yeah,
Unknown
yeah.
out.
Yes,
And
that's a great
feel
way to look
that.
at it.
And it was like a first cousin, but literally I haven't talked to him in almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And my sister was kind of being like, well, he's your first cousin. And I was like, yeah, but you know, I really want to make room for like my chosen family and stuff. And then my mom all of a sudden went, he's not coming. This person we're talking about is not coming. He's
Lost
not
it.
coming.
Oh
and
my
I was
gosh.
like, I want to be clear. He's not banned from the wedding.
He's just-
I just think
I love how though your mom was like on your side.
she
about
was
it.
on my side.
Because I feel like a lot of parents, like this is like such a big deal when it comes to
Yeah.
weddings, is who's invited and who's not.
Yeah.
And it's often like, well, you have to invite whomever, and
Right.
you have to do this. And that was one big thing, like where I'm like, you don't actually, I'd always bring brides aside and be like, you actually don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to invite anyone you don't want. Tell your mom you invited them and then just don't invite them. Like I was like, it does not matter.
Ooh.
Like, you know, like
I don't know.
I mean, that's
Aisha.
running. That's
That
a
seems
real.
little
I
dangerous.
know, because then your mom's like, "Well, and Eddie, are you coming?" She's like, "To what?"
To what?
But I had aunts and uncles who like, they're fine. Like they could come if they wanted. But I was
Yeah.
like, it's really far. It's gonna be hard to get to. And I said to them
Yeah.
like, if you want, like you're invited, but like there's no pressure. And so
Yeah.
my one aunt, and she was like, "Cool, we're not gonna come." And I was like, "Cool, like that's totally fine."
Yeah.
And my other aunt and uncle were like, "Oh, so you don't want us to come?" And I was like, well, no.
No,
Like I was
yeah.
like, I was just
Right.
saying, like, there's no pressure because it is
Yeah.
hard to. You have to take multiple flights. Like it's like it's
Yeah.
hard to
It's a
get to.
lot.
My family's a lot in Canada, so it's like expensive as well to come to the
Yeah.
States. But it was just so funny because like people's reactions to stuff. Like we also had a lot of other parties to just invite the people who like are on those bigger circles that weren't the wedding, so we could be like, let's just have a shindig.
That's what we're thinking of
And
doing.
come and like
Yeah.
everyone
the way
can
to do it.
come, but then
Yeah.
like the actual wedding where you're paying for people's meals and stuff,
Yeah.
we're like, let's just have people who create joy.
Yeah.
I like that Marie Kondo thing about like in relation to who you're
Wedding
inviting,
guests, yeah.
because it's so
Do
true.
it. Gotti, bring us to the next one here.
Okay,
This
here
is
I
White Trash
come.
Town. We love.
I do
love.
I love
people.
white trash town. My cousin knocked up a white trash Barbie and had
All that first line is
We
so
love it.
delicious.
so
We
good.
all see her right now.
And had a white trash shotgun wedding. The bride's elderly mother showed up in a cheetah print mini dress and sat on various married men's laps.
Love it.
They had a Stop and Shop sheet cake as their wedding cake. I'm assuming that's like a Costco.
Yeah, or like a Ralph's
Grocery
or-
store
yeah.
Yeah.
cake. I mean, honestly,
Also
I
delicious,
love.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
not fire. Not a miss there.
Yeah. And her family started a brawl amongst each other in the parking lot.
Yes.
My uncle had been sober for 20 years. Had the bartender pouring the doubles of tequila after about an hour.
Amazing.
This feels like a situation where people are like, actually, just that's fine.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
The only reason I missed out on the celebration was because the bride kicked me out of her wedding party for refusing to do makeup. I had initially offered to do the makeup to help her save money, but had to withdraw my offer when she had 2 bridesmaids that were allergic to makeup, but still insisted I do their faces and tell them it was hyperallergenic makeup because she wanted them to be prettier for her pictures.
Oh my gosh.
Just give them anaphylactic
Yeah.
shock. That's fine. That's great. We love that.
Cousin is now an alcoholic and she got another kid out of him. We don't see him a lot anymore. There's a lot more to that wedding, but those are the highlights.
That sounds like there's a lot more to that wedding.
I love family brawl in the parking lot. That's so
Wow.
funny. My sober uncle. Also, I just want to say, I don't think that guy's sobriety was that good. If like a relative's wedding knocked
We listen
him
and
out.
we do not judge.
Yeah, sorry.
You had a good run, Gotti. 20 years. My favorite character is elderly mom sitting on various married men's
Oh, yeah.
laps.
I like
wow,
the
she's
cheetah
getting it.
print.
Yeah.
Like we know
She's-
exactly
yeah,
who she
right?
is.
Like, I kind of love that woman, actually.
Yeah, I think
in
she's
the whole
really
grand scheme of
cool.
this.
Yeah.
She's a lover, not a fighter. What,
Yeah.
what more do you want at your wedding?
What more do you want? Yeah, and sheet cake. I mean, look, I've had some of the best desserts in the world, but grocery store sheet cake, it's
Yeah,
it
sometimes-
ranks.
It's like randomly
great.
so good. And wedding cake is always awful.
It's-
we had
yeah.
a coffee cake that was not at all like
coffee cake. At the
Josh
wedding.
loves coffee cake.
That's so
my
We had like
God.
a ring coffee cake that they just put flour, like I put a bouquet in the middle of.
Yeah.
And then like you could take it out.
So cute.
But like, because I was like, I don't really like cake and I don't like wedding cake
You
at
don't like
all.
cake?
Yeah, I'm not a cake
I think
person.
cake
Okay, I
is
take
just
back
okay.
all my
Yeah.
compliments.
Yeah. I
What
take
the
back all
fuck?
my.
I'm
I
all
only-
in
I
on your
only like-
husband now.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't like cake?
I'm out. Josh is in for you.
I'm
I
in
get
for
it.
Josh.
Do you like coffee cake?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like all
I mean, at a
cake.
wedding, it's chaotic, but
Yeah.
I'm curious. It could go okay.
I feel like the cake is always a hit or miss, but I'm
Yeah.
always excited about it.
Mm.
And one time I was at a wedding where I feel like it was outside and it was cold, but we were dancing and that was fun. And I was like, after the cake comes, we'll leave. And the cake never came.
Oh, they didn't have cake.
And I-
cakeless.
The cakeless. And like, honestly,
It's not okay.
it was one of our top ranked weddings. It was a great wedding, but I was kind of like, I feel like you should warn people.
Have something.
You should
there's
warn
not a
people. Thank you.
Like you should warn
Thank you.
people.
Also, I feel like that's a lot of like a
Yeah.
lot of people like after the cake, then we'll leave,
Right.
or then we'll whatever.
Yeah.
Like, even birthday
It's a
parties,
timing
weddings,
thing. Yeah.
it's the
Yes,
cake is sort of when
post-cake
it's
is
like
when
you can
wrapping.
leave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or just like a cookie.
Yeah.
Like, is there
Some
a cookie?
sort of little dessert?
My friend had
Little
these,
people a treat.
my friend had those huge cookies and
Oh.
cake. which
I would
is
be-
like,
Yeah.
that's all you need.
I'm honestly down to have like huge cookies over cake.
Yeah.
I know that we'll have cake
with the
but-
gooey center. Oh my god.
Yeah, but
Send
I
it.
do like cookies more than cake.
I wanted to have freezies as our.
What's that?
Oh, they're what do you guys call them here? It's very Canadian.
like
to
a
say
otter
freezies.
on otter
Are you
pop.
Canadian?
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
like the ones that are like in a tube and you just cut the top off.
Yeah.
What is
Otter
it
pop.
called?
Otter pop?
Pop.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to have those because I
I
love
love
frozen
those
treats
too.
as
Okay.
dessert. Like I wanted ice cream or those. And for our like rehearsal thing, like our wedding planner brought me just a bucket of all these freezies. And I was like, I think I'm in love with you. Like I was like, this is the best.
Wow,
But then
she
we didn't
really
have like we
earned it.
didn't have it for the actual wedding.
I think a
It's
frequent
bit
wedding
bad.
cake error is over icing. I think this is one of the
Okay.
great cake
Yeah.
misses. People think icing makes it look fancier. I get
Icing
it.
is so gross. This is one of the reasons I hate cake.
It's a very gentle ratio. I can meet you there.
It's a
But
very
you need to not overdo the icing. It
Yes.
gets gross.
I think cake itself, I like.
okay.
If it's just cake, like plain cake with no icing, no anything, just
Okay.
dry cake, I'm into it.
All right.
Okay, interesting.
We're back
Yeah,
in. Dry is a little far. We
You
see
know
the
what?
voice.
dry.
Ooh. What is that?
But like, I
What
just want to
is
put
that?
a little bit of ice cream on top because I love ice cream cake, all that
Oh.
kind of thing. But like,
Over.
Yeah.
I think I hate icing is the problem. Every kind of icing, I'm like, it's not my favorite.
Icing's
love
always
icing.
the problem. If
Yeah.
there's a cake
Oh.
problem, it's almost always icing.
I love icing.
You'll go hard icing?
But my mom makes this frosting that is mostly lard and it is crack. Like she gave like she still makes us birthday cakes to
Yeah,
this
ugh.
day. And like we'll take a
I'm
whole chunk of
in.
it home and like it's
sounds
the
so
frosting.
good. Yeah.
It's really just like powdered sugar and lard, and it's so delicious.
I don't know.
Lard? I'm here for lard.
Almond,
Okay. I grew up
lard,
on lard.
I don't think I'm
For
getting. I
sure.
don't think I'm getting a wedding invite from you. But if I literally just get an invite that says I can come and eat a small piece of cake and go, I'll show. It's literally like 7:45 to 8 p.m. Just I run
Use the back door
Hi,
and then
thanks, bye.
I feel like maybe we'll do a shindig where she gets to make a cake.
Oh my gosh.
And invite everyone to that.
Now, I looked for a while for a good horse one, and I think this is the best horse one I could find.
Yeah,
Gotti
this
wanted to
is
read
really
it.
funny.
Like, I can't deny you a horse read here.
I did used to ride horses. Do not bring a horse.
Which makes it sound like someone's like, is it cool if I plus one on a horse? Is that true?
If you bring a horse, make sure you have legal right to have a wedding and reception in a state park.
What?
If you bring a horse and do not have a permit to use the state park, make sure you have a credit card.
This is like a children's book right now.
It really is.
So
It
right.
really
So
is.
well
Do
done.
not give a mouse a cookie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there will be a permit fee. Fee for violating permit fee, double in parentheses. Unauthorized large animal fee when the park ranger comes.
Oh, no.
You are probably going to need another credit card.
This is.
Give
a mouse a cookie.
Yeah. And your
What?
future wife's credit card, period. And your father's credit card, period.
Bro, this family's credit limit is $800.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
And your future father-in-law's credit card, period. Wow, period. You all have bad credit or non-working cards or no space on your credit cards and have been embarrassed in front of your entire family? Question mark.
This is what happens when you don't invite FICO to your
Yeah.
wedding, right? They're like, we're screwing you.
That is really embarrassing. Everyone is sort of looking at the ground now because they don't want to embarrass you more. Maybe not be able to help you, or think that if they help you, they'll never get paid back.
This
But-
is a very specific.
It is-
I know.
yeah.
It's
I
like
love
they're
this.
acting like this is going to apply to everybody.
Yeah.
And we're like,
This
"Oh,
feels,
okay.
yeah.
We're with you, but we don't know what you're talking about.
But look, is it my mom, the one you've shamed all these years for working as a public school teacher instead of homeschooling as God intended? Does she have a working credit card? Can she save the day? Can she save your sorry ass again and know she isn't going to get paid back again and get slandered again? Yep.
Wow.
Have a happy wedding.
That's a very. They're hoping this couple stumbles upon this and really apologizes to the mom, I think.
I think mom wrote that.
Oh, sneaky.
Oh,
Sneaky.
mom with a Reddit account, very rare, but it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Because, like, wow, what a really specific, those are interesting slanders against mom to,
Yeah.
I feel like mom remembers those slanders more than
Yeah.
like when you're a kid.
I
Your
feel like
brother or
know.
something.
I feel like there was a discussion before this happened. You know, like, did you hear that Janice is getting married at the state park? Really, state park? I don't think they have. You think they got a permit for that? You know, like,
Yeah.
people like foretelling, like they never planned
Someone
for
was
anything.
like, beep, bop, boop. Oh, hi, just an anonymous tip for you.
I also feel like this is a family that maybe is buying. Yeah, they just have bad credit. I feel like someone was like, the horse was booked before any of the other plans were.
Yeah,
like
for
they were like,
sure.
we got to get a horse.
And then they're like,
you
we
know?
can't change it. We already
We
have the horse.
Yes.
It's national park. They can't charge us for having
Right.
a horse.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
from the park.
It's
Yeah.
from the
Come on.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're the type of family to like go to Disneyland when someone got laid off. They're like, well, we gotta celebrate.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
come on.
yeah.
It's Nana's birthday. Nana's
Yeah.
not coming, but it's still her birthday.
It's still her
We've
birthday.
gotta go.
We gotta spend the money
Yeah.
on this.
A lot of people wrote about animal stuff, and I got kind of annoyed because like I feel like some of the stories are like there was one about dogs, and it was like, oh, the dogs barked and like someone freaked out, and I'm like, shut up if they're gonna freak out. Like I went to a wedding and there were 2 golden retrievers that
Love it already.
ran down
Yes.
the aisle.
Love
And they
it.
were like amazing, and it set the wedding. And I'm like, I do not want to
Yeah.
publicly discourage people from having
No, totally.
dogs.
I'm like, and I hope that this is just a note for everyone who's gonna have their dog do anything down the aisle. Please get them a doggy bow tie.
Yeah.
Why do it if you're not going to have a dog and bow tie on?
Yes.
Please, it's so cute.
Yes.
It's so cute.
All right,
Oh my
Aisha,
gosh.
read this one. This one, I had to do this one as a dessert guy. I was
here we
like,
go.
we need to do this.
Okay. We had 200 people at our wedding. My mother-in-law invited most of them. Big family wedding at his family church. We didn't care, but the moms, even though they hadn't been to church for years, insisted. Of course they did. Fine, whatever. My husband's tutas, aunts. I also want to know where they're from, that tutas is
Yeah,
aunts,
what
I
is
like
tuta?
that. I want to be a
Yeah.
tuta. They were amazing bakers. They made cookies that were legendary, but only at Christmas, weddings, and funerals. They actually bought new trash cans with lids as huge Tupperware. Already I was like, what? There's so many different kinds of bins you could get that you don't have to use
they were like,
trash
no,
cans.
we
but-
We
need
put
this.
your gourmet meal in a toilet.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's a clean toilet. It's
it's a
fine.
clean
You're
toilet.
like,
It's new.
Something about the optics is off
It's just
here.
a little hard.
We had a cake, but they wanted to do a sweets table to go with it. These are people after your own heart,
I
right?
love them.
There were platters of cookies mounded to the extreme, which I love the visual of this. Or so I was told. By the time we got our pictures taken and got to the reception, all in capitals, all the cookies were gone.
No.
Every effing one of them. I'm still salty about it after 40 years. I have all the recipes, but I really regret letting so many kids come to the wedding.
Oh my God.
Little bastards.
Oh my God.
That's so
the kids.
funny.
They were like piranhas.
I like the secret surprise that she's actually really mad at the kids.
Yes,
and
I
not
love that.
like,
Right.
not that nobody saved a plate for her. She's like, why are so many kids here? God.
Oh man, having kids at a wedding is a real decision that people make. Like a lot of people are like,
Yeah.
no kids. But when if you're asking for it, if you have a bunch of kids and you have a mound of cookies
Yeah.
and you don't have parents who are like limiting them, oh, you're asking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I wonder, I feel like the kids did something else. Like, I feel like they were hooked up on sugar and ruined some other part of it.
Oh, for sure.
But she's so into the cookies. She only remembers
really
they
good.
ate
They
all
ripped
her
my
cookies.
dress. One of them shit on the floor, but the cookies,
Cookies,
like that's what
yes,
really got
yes.
her. But I get that because like you want to eat the food, especially if it's something
Yeah.
you've been anticipating for so long.
Right.
And then if you get, I had all the food at our wedding. Like we had
Yeah.
plates set aside for me, and then I went a bunch of
Yeah.
times, so I was like feeling good. But that is one thing that I think so many people miss out on in their wedding is eating the good food that they've meticulously
true.
chosen.
Yeah.
And everyone's gonna talk about it, and you're gonna be like, oh, were the cookies delicious? Was the lamb tender? Like you're just
Yeah.
like you miss it all. So
Yeah.
you need that.
I feel like with some venues, like you pick the venue and you're like, whatever, the food's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the food is good and you don't get to have it, especially like I'm not like saying brides should do this, but some brides go in like a crazy diet before,
Yeah.
So, and then the big payoff is to
The food at your
is
wedding.
they're going to eat all the food at the wedding. And
So-
so yeah, I can imagine why she's still pissed.
Here's my hot take. I have had great food at a wedding, like
Uh-huh.
as the entree or app or
Yeah.
whatever. It's great. But you know what? It's never memorable. It's never
Mm.
memorable. Because what's it going to be? It's got to be a little crowd, please. You can't be crazy up in there, right?
Yeah.
You can't
I
be
must
serving
say,
mole enchiladas. Go ahead. Go
Our
ahead.
wedding is
Oh.
legit one of the weddings that like the food. I'm not sure people remember my husband's name, but they know the
Yeah.
food. Like the food, we had a gourmet buffet, so it wasn't just
No,
like big
but wait,
things.
as the main?
As everything.
Oh.
We had a rehearsal dinner that was a lobster cookout because we were in Maine. And then we also had a soup bar. We had a whole charcuterie thing. We had a whole a thing. Then
Yeah.
we had as the main, we had like 2 kinds of salmon, lamb, chicken, beef. We had everything. And
Yeah,
people
yeah.
were like, oh my God, that salmon is like so delectable. This person's like, oh my gosh,
Ooh.
the lamb kebabs were phenomenal. Like literally people were like, I want someone I know to get married at the same place so I can go and just eat their
Just
food.
eat
That does
the
sound great.
food.
It's like phenomenal.
Well, what I was going to say, I mean, it sounds like you nailed it. You're a wedding planner, so come on. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the things I remember the most are distinctive dessert, like dessert
Mhm.
tables.
or like
Yeah.
a donut, like whatever,
Yes,
like
donut
cheese
thing.
or something.
I
Yeah.
went to a wedding that had an enormous charcuterie like tower.
Yes.
And like,
You can be more creative with those things for sure. I see what you're saying. Like
Yes,
the entree is usually like kind of whatever, but like that you can be doing crazy stuff with the dessert, and you can do crazy stuff with the like hors d'oeuvre kind of walk around, pick at things like appetizer-y stuff.
What's it called now? A lot of people do this now, like the after wedding, like the midnight snack. My
Yeah.
friend did In and Out.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
awesome.
I had a friend who had trucks come to make, it was in Canada. They had like a chip truck come and have like poutine, which is like very Canadian, but also an ice cream
Wait, how did
truck.
you just say it?
Poutine.
I've never heard someone put so much spin on it.
Poutine.
Poutine.
Poutine. Just sounds so like, but like they had like the trucks come at the end or like that kind of stuff. I think is amazing because people remember that and it's like a fun, like people are drinking, they need food to keep dancing and
We're looking at a venue right now and like the ceremony site isn't everything I want it to be, but like the pro of like the hotel being closed and like just like the beautiful city it's in, but also like they have the midnight snack option is, or whatever, late night snack option is like s'mores and they have like a fireplace.
Fun. That's so
and
fun.
I love
yeah.
it. With
that's
a
really
real
fun.
fire.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Winter Town.
Okay.
I like this one a lot. Aisha's gonna read this one.
Okay.
Here
Oh,
we
I'm gonna
go.
read it? Okay. It snowed like an inch on my wedding day, making the pictures very pretty. Just enough snow to be beautiful, but still warm enough for my sleeveless wedding dress. It's an important thing to remember. But I live in the South. No one drives in snow in the South. Okay, this is the best because you think it's going one way, right?
Yeah.
And then it takes we're going left turn on this. No one drives in snow in the South, so half of our guests didn't show. So the buffet was huge and filled, but was meant for more people. The venue said it was against health regulations for people to take food home or for us to donate to a homeless shelter or give food to random people in the street, which I also have a lot of issues with. My dad starts a huge argument with the venue. Love the dad. How he bought the food and he could do what he wanted.
Yeah.
They wouldn't budge. So he gave my 20-year-old brother $20 and sent him to the store to buy a Rubbermaid tub. They brought the tub in and Dad started just piling food into the tub.
Yes.
When they approached him, this is my favorite part. He said it was his plate.
Classic dad move.
Started dragging it to an outside table to eat. And then just kept dragging it until he hit a patch of ice, lost his grip, and wouldn't you know it, it slid off. It slid into a ravine off the property where my brother had then loaded it into a car to take it to a shelter. Venue said that they would not refill the buffet table after it. But by that point, basically it was done. Everyone was going. It was our small act of defiance. I don't regret it. We apparently fed 20 people that needed food after being out in the snow all day. This is a hero. This person is a hero. My dad is a hero.
This is the hero we need.
This really
because like they're not like people just like looking to be complimented for helping. They're like,
Yeah.
God damn it, this doesn't make sense, and I'm pissed. And
Yes.
we're gonna find a creative solution.
And there's so much food left over after a buffet that it's like, it's kind of maddening that I get health regulations were like, well, we could accidentally poison someone. Okay, cool. But like, can we just take like all the bread or something?
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways you could help be like feeding people that like, I love this dad. I love that he argued. I love that he's like, this is my plate. What are you going to do? And then like shoves it down to the brother. This is, everything about this is perfection. I feel
like it sounds like in this case they were being, I feel like there's a thing that people do sometimes when they're smart and they're like, I have to play by the rules.
Right.
But if you take me at my literal words, I'm actually giving you a clue that you could do this.
Yeah.
I don't think this is what they did, but they could have just been like, almost like, I can't tell you that you can take any of the food. Like, you know what I mean? You'd say things like that are kind of like a wink.
Yeah.
Or like, you can't take that in front of me. I'm going to the kitchen for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never authorize you to do that. And I'm going to walk away right now.
Yeah.
That's what they should have
done.
done.
It sounds like these people were doing the opposite of that though. They're like, no,
They
we're
were
going to watch
being,
you like a hawk. You can't take it. Which makes it even better that he's like, this is my plate. This huge bin is my plate and I'm going to eat it.
I love that he did that.
I
also loved like the wording is that he slipped on a patch of ice. So it's like, did he do it on purpose or did he stage it? And like, I love the idea of him being like, whoa, and like fall like, I fell.
The venue's like, you guys could have just walked it off. You didn't need to create this whole thing. He's like, no, and then the ravine, I slid and I lost control off the property going down a hill. And
Meanwhile, they've packaged it for him. Like,
Yeah.
we changed our mind. Oh, okay, cool. You do it that way.
If only we waited 5 more minutes. I also like the idea that everyone's pretty drunk at this wedding, and this is like a C story that people keep returning to. They're like, what? Oh, okay. Oh, he's packaging. All right. Well,
This is, I think, the cringiest one.
Oh, boy.
The wedding was at a soup kitchen. The couple sometimes volunteered there, presumably to remind us how selfless they are.
Oh my gosh.
Hundreds of homeless people were gathered outside, and if the couple had said, hey, dress casual, because if you're coming to our wedding, you'll be helping serve the homeless, I would have been all for it. Instead, we stood there in nice clothes eating food while all the homeless people watched through the fence.
What?
Extremely awkward, classless. The homeless were essentially used as props.
Wow.
Also, I had not really understood where this was or expected to run the homeless gauntlet to get in, so I didn't prepare my kids who are traumatized.
Oh my god.
And kept asking if we're going to lose our house. On the plus side, we got to attend a wedding in a dirty parking lot.
What were they thinking?
I feel like when I was like, this is the hero we need, because in the story right before this, because he was like, we're going to donate this food.
Yes.
I don't give a damn. Like, he doesn't need to be seen helping, whereas these people desperately need to be seen as helpful. They don't care if they're helping. It's just the idea, the image of helping.
And they took the food away from the people who needed it, who came to the soup kitchen.
Well, in their defense, I think it wasn't that bad. I think it was an optics thing, because they wrote, this may or may not have changed the soup's kitchen's planned schedule for the day or the amount of food given out, making charitable assumptions as possible. They served lunch earlier. We're going to serve it anyway.
But it's still like weird to like have people eat food and then the homeless, like, you're gonna do that, like, let them sit at your wedding.
Have them come in if you're so committed to this place.
It's too much.
It's way too much. It's given real I don't even want to say, like,
go ahead.
It's given real campy feel, you know, like people over, like, because they're like through the fence looking in. That's so scary and sad.
I feel like there's no way that this should have happened. There's no way this should have taken place.
No.
But the only way I can think of is like, maybe if you were like, okay, I want to contribute to the community that come to this soup kitchen. So instead of soup, today we're bringing our delicious, fancy food. We're going to have it for everybody. And then we're going to leave and go somewhere else and have a reception. You know what I mean? But like, there's no version that it makes sense in. Even if you're a huge supporter, then have everyone, instead of giving you gifts, give money to this place.
Yeah.
That's how they actually benefit.
No, but that doesn't look as good.
Oh, right. Yes.
In their heads.
Of course.
I feel like what it is, to generalize maybe, is like, don't go to an inclusive space, which a homeless shelter is like the most inclusive place, we hope, and then be exclusive, because that's kind of what they're doing. It's like, it's really shitty.
Yeah, totally.
I agree with her that they were being used as props.
Yeah.
And that is so sad. And for the kids, I feel like if I was a kid, I don't know if I'd assume we were homeless, but I'd be like, I remember just being so upset anytime as a kid I saw like people upset. So I feel like if I was a little kid at this wedding, there's all these hungry people looking at me through a fence, I'd be like, are we going to feed them? Or like, what are we doing here? Like,
kids are like, why are they there? And we're like, what's the difference? And you're like, there is none.
There is none.
These people are just jerks.
Yeah.
Fearless of inventive brides. Not a complete disaster, but the bride's mom wore what was basically a wedding dress and insisted on walking her daughter up the aisle with her father. They were divorced. There was not enough room for all three to walk comfortably. After the wedding, we found out the photographer had become enamored with the maid of honor, and at least 50% of the pictures he took were of her.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And there were 0 of just the bride and groom.
Wow.
This has happened to me before. I hired a videographer, and they like focus on their friend. And I was like, what are you thinking? Like, I hired you. It was about me. Like, what are you thinking?
I have heard of that happening when you hire a photographer who knows your friends. And you're like, why do I have so many photos of Susan? Not like everyone else.
One of the biggest, most embarrassing stories for me, having been a wedding planner, is so a lot of my friends who got married, like I would help them plan their weddings for free, or I would do whatever they needed, basically, right? And one of my girlfriends, she was like, can you MC my wedding? I was like, obviously I will. And I hadn't found a dress. So it was Josh and I, we went to my hometown where the wedding was happening. And I was like searching for dresses. And like, you know, like when you're just like, nothing's fitting, nothing's feeling good. And I tried on so many dresses. And then there was this one that was like a brown dress, but had like white lace over it.
Okay.
And so in my head, I was like, oh, this is like a brown dress. And it's going to look like kind of like brownish, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember Josh being like, do you feel like that is okay to wear to a wedding? And I was like, thinking like, oh, because it's lace. Like, I don't know, maybe it was a bit see-through. So I was like, no, I think it's fine. And then I went to her wedding. I was the front and center for the entire reception.
Oh no.
And I looked at a picture afterwards. I'm like, I was wearing a white lace dress because the brown part matched my skin tone.
Oh no.
And was like underneath. And I was wearing like, it was like a short, like more casual, but like it was a white lace dress.
Oh.
And so like years later, I was like, wait a minute. And I wrote to her and I was like, oh my God, like I texted her, I'm like, did I wear a wedding dress to your wedding dress? And she goes, yeah, I was wondering about that.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. Like I just like never clicked in. And she was like, yeah, it was kind of weird, but I was like, whatever, Aisha. And then like I wore that. And then she kept saying to me like, well, it wasn't really a wedding dress. But I was like, no, I wore that at my wedding as my after party dress because it was so wedding-like. And I was like, no, like, don't make me feel better about this. That was a wedding dress at your wedding. And she's like, yeah, it was. It was a real white lace. Like, what were you doing?
Aisha,
yeah.
YTA.
She's like, don't worry, I'm over it. But I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I was the asshole at her wedding.
A huge asshole.
Totally, without even realizing it.
I've tried to say it, and I know I'm an armchair philosopher because I obviously don't even know what a dress is, really. I mean, I can pick one out of a lineup. But like, I do really feel this is a case where if there is a glimmer, a microscopic drop of uncertainty that it may be inappropriate, the answer is no.
This is why it's so embarrassing for me.
I feel like though you're such a good person that nobody was like particularly upset. Like if you were a person that like hogged spotlight a lot or something, then people would be mad. But because like you're you and you're so fun and awesome, everyone was like, okay.
I bet people cracked it. I bet people cracked it. They're like, no, because she thought it was brown because that's the same color as her skin.
My husband, Josh, was like, I told you this was not appropriate for a wedding. And I was like, I didn't get it. Like, I just feel like so embarrassed because she did notice it and it did clock for her and she didn't say anything. And then when I brought it up years later, when she was like, I'm over it, I was like, oh my God, there was a time where you were not. Like, she's like a good friend of mine. Yeah. And I was a wedding planner. Like, it's like, there's just so many
Josh, so hot right now. Josh, so hot right now. He called it clean.
My friends, like if I have to show up somewhere and look nice, they ask for photos of what I'm going to wear because they know that I do not like this.
Not you.
This is my favorite outfit that I'm wearing right now. It's
That's
a
amazing.
shirt
That's
and
amazing.
jeans, and they fit very well. And I've premeditated on this a lot, but like to like get dressed up. Like I need a team to come in and be like appropriate, not appropriate, not appropriate.
Wait, are you gonna wear like a traditional wedding?
I think
dress?
I can show you photos. Like,
oh
yeah.
Wow.
I mean that makes it easy. Then you're like
wedding
good.
No, like
appropriate.
my bridesmaids are like, what do you think? Like, should we do this? I'm like, can you guys send me what you like?
Yeah.
And then
you're I'll be like, jeans?
yeah.
We love it. All right, we're going to get into some AITAs. Guys, let me know in the comments if you like this segment. I think we want to do more stuff like this. I thought this was pretty fun.
I thought it was really fun.
The wedding chaos. Now we're going to get into some classic AITAs here. So second is backing out a friend's wedding after she gossiped about a breakup. But first, AITA, if I don't go to my sister's courthouse wedding. This morning, I, 26F, woke up to a really weird text from my sister, 33F. She said, can you take off March 6th? Me, for what? Sister, I'm getting married. Me, ... Ever since birth, I've known my sister to be a serial dater. Every time I see her, new boyfriend. She hasn't introduced me to anyone recently, so seeing this text, shocker. Before New Year's, she told me that she was dating a guy in a different state, but they just broke up. So if she is getting married, I'm 90% sure that it's probably going to be with a complete stranger. Either way, I don't want to be a part. I just started school. I'm working a lot. I really don't want to support my sister's dumb decisions, especially when I know she hasn't known this dude for long. At the end of the day, I'm scared of her getting hurt or used. AITA.
Wow. Okay.
I can see her hesitation.
But I must say, at the end, she says, I'm scared of her getting hurt. And so if that's the case, then I would think you would want to support.
Right.
And like maybe be like, hey, cool, you're getting married. Love to be there. Let's talk about it. Who is this person? And maybe there's a way you could like figure that information out. And if you think she might get hurt or if it's like a problematic situation, so you then maybe could make some moves. But I think just like extricating yourself from it is you seem to not really care maybe that she's going to get hurt. And also you might regret that. I don't know.
She sounds a little burned out on her sister.
fair.
In general.
I'm burned out on her. I'm
Yeah,
exhausted.
she sounds like, I don't know. I'd be curious if she's I'm making a sweeping motion. If she's like the cleaner upper in the family or I also feel like she's not, just based off how she wrote that. I feel like she just, But I mean, I can see the hesitation and especially if she doesn't know this person or what. I will say though, has she asked we don't know if she's asked any questions to the sister.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, I ask some questions before you just don't go.
Because like, also it's like,
you're like,
I'm
don't
not
go.
with you at all. No.
If you think about it though, the time we're in, what if it's like
immigration?
Helping? Yes.
Yeah.
Helping.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the best defense I'm gonna probably
That's the
believe
best
in.
defense.
Well, actually, Gotti, one thing you said to me, and I actually think about this quite often, is we were just talking about all the personalities in LA and all the people we dealt with. And at some point, we just kind of talked about all these people. And then you're just like, some people in LA are just crazy.
Yeah.
And you kind of said it this way where I'm like, that is so nice. Cause like sometimes it's like, I like try to figure someone out and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing to figure out.
I don't need to figure it out.
And I kind of feel like that's the position Sister's in. Like, I don't know. I do feel like once you're in your 30s, it's like probably, I know some people can change sometimes, but like it's already like, this is a very ingrained pattern.
Yeah.
This is not her first rodeo. It's not her 10th rodeo.
Yeah.
You know, now she's upping the ante and like doing a courthouse marriage. It's like she's bored of mundanely like having a chaotic relationship. She wants to get the law involved.
She wants to get the law involved.
It sounds like Sister is like, yeah, dude, like I already know your relationship pattern. And I'm like, I'm trying to build stability in my life. And like, I'm not going to indulge this. I actually think she would be the asshole to go.
Oh,
wow.
I feel like, okay, so I think that I have a bit of a different view on people where I'm like, yes, I think that there's like patterns, but I also feel like people can shift and they can turn a new leaf, whether it lasts for the rest of their life or something. And I feel like that should be rewarded to people when they are trying hard and they are doing something different. I'm like, I don't want to be like, but you've always been doing it wrong. Like,
what's different here? That's,
it sounds like she's committing to somebody. That's how I'm seeing it. That's how
I like what you
it.
said.
Okay.
I like what you said, but we disagree on the interpretation.
Okay.
I do think being supportive of a change, even if you know it's a bullshit change, could be good. But to me, this isn't a change because to me, this is the same thing of like, I want attention for dating a new guy. I want to extract. Whereas if she said like, I'm really working on myself. This is a different kind of guy. Yeah. Like, I'm not seeing any evidence. To me, this is just like, now I'm forcing you to accept this guy. So to me, it's the same fucking pattern.
So this is my question. What is the benefit of not going? She just doesn't have to get off work?
Because I view it as enabling. This is enabling this sister's kind of like relationship pattern. And it's like, I think she's reached a point where I'm like, I am not going to sit here and indulge every like Tom, Dick, and Harry that you bring through the revolving door and act like I have to legitimize that relationship.
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
That's part of like, I think maturity is like when you date someone, not just like show ponying them, like take some time and like invest. And if you're invested and you vet them, then they meet the friends and the fam.
Well, I did say, when I say people are crazy, I mean like, you can accept them or not. Like you can be like, you're going to be this way. And if I love you, I accept you're going to be this way. I'll always hope you'll change. But, I'm not going to like be like, I'm not going to try and give this too much energy. Like I might have to vent about you sometimes, but I'm not going to live in this world where I'm keeping you and hoping you'll change because I accept you, you know? Yeah. And there are some people who are like, I'm like, I don't have time for this, you know? Like, right. But so I feel like I do agree. If she is worried about being hurt, why would she not go? And I also understand she's burned out. Like, I feel like both can be true. I just would have more. I would really want to know, is it a green card wedding? Personally, that would be my first question.
She would have mentioned that.
But if she's kind of for drama, I feel like she wouldn't. I feel like she'd be like, guess what? I'm saving a life.
So I like what you said. And one thing that my friend pointed out, Haley, I had her on the show and I've been chewing on it since, that it's actually love to do what you just said. It's love to be like, look, you're crazy or whatever. We're not compatible for whatever reason. They don't have to be crazy. They can just be incompatible. I can tolerate you for like an hour a month or whatever it may be. And I'm going to set that, and that's going to let me keep you in my life.
Yeah.
And that's that. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are going to be like, Danny's the most annoying guy ever. I'll do 2 hours a month on the pod.
Right.
You know? And that's love. You love me now.
Yeah.
You love me now.
We don't think that. Also, I thought you said Andy for some reason.
We're like,
And I was like,
screw
who is
Andy.
Andy's my brother. Did I say his name? Am I turning into my parents? My parents do not call me Danny, and they don't call Andy Andy. They call us both and Danny.
And Danny.
And Danny.
My mom
Get
would
it.
be
Better
like-
than Dandy. Dandy would be a
they
good
don't do
one.
Dandy.
my sister's named Maddie, and so my mom was
No.
having a conversation with me, and she goes, "Oh, Cotty Maddie."
Cotty
Like,
Maddie.
she didn't even like pick one.
Just like both of y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, we found some backing for Aisha's take here.
Yeah.
Specialist Al writes, YTA, I'm going to explain my ruling as it's from past experience. Sister was not a serial dater. She dated guys for years, and when the ship ended, it was always hard. Well, in the past, she broke up with her BF of 3 years because he didn't want to commit, which is fair. They were in their early 20s, and so he said he was too young and that isn't what she wanted, so she ended it. Suddenly, she starts dating a coworker after a few months, which is fine, and then within 2 months, she's engaged. As an older sister, I was like, this is going way too fast. This goes on. This was the longest comment I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, they did have some rough times, but now nearly 13 years later, they're still married and now 3 children. Moral of the story, there's no such thing as a normal way to get married. Mind your own business, go to the wedding.
I mean, okay, so maybe this is just some of my background. Maybe this is where this comes from, is my parents met, and my dad is Nigerian, from Nigeria. My mom is from a small town in a like farm community in Canada. They met, my mom was 19, and 6 months later they got married.
Wow.
Okay, and then they moved to Nigeria. So everyone on
Whoa.
both sides was like, you're doing the wrong thing. You're making mistakes. This is never going to last. They have been married now for 72 years. No, 52 years, not 72 years. Oh my God, how old are they?
What are they drinking?
Aisha's parents are straight up 125.
Yeah, vampires. Yeah.
52 years. And like, yeah, there's been rough
Wow.
patches, whatever, but like, so I think that maybe that's where it comes from for me, where I'm like, you actually never know how things are going to turn out. And so my father's always like, never insert yourself into people's relationships and be like, that person's wrong for you, that person's whatever. Just be there for them for whatever they're feeling.
Okay.
Yeah,
and help
I do
them
agree.
through.
I'm going to meet you in the middle, Aisha. First,
Okay.
let me point out, though, I didn't like how OP made that, or not OP, the writer of this comment made it all about them because I don't feel like this matched exactly.
Right.
This person had stable, long relationships
Right.
and then had a shotgun wedding,
Yeah.
which is a little cuckoo,
It's
but
different.
a lot
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But I will say, I will let her use the wedding card one time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
support this one wedding, but don't think I'm going to be canceling nothing if we're at another courthouse wedding 6 months from now.
I do understand if you can't get off work though, but because like it's hard to pay bills. But like I'm like being serious. Like if you're broke, you know, like be smart.
Yeah.
What
She
is
could just zip off for
she
lunch,
could
so it's a
just-
courthouse. It's like 15
that's
minutes.
True. Okay,
Like,
okay.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I guess I'm
sure.
not-
Yeah, it's short.
If they're in the same town,
That's true.
then
That's fair.
definitely.
That's
But
fair.
if you have to fly or something,
Okay,
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
AITA,
Yeah.
if I don't
Yeah.
go to my sister's courthouse wedding, I think we're putting up a lot of barriers. We're saying it would be YTA if it's basically a super easy short wedding. You can
Right.
just go.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We met in the
Yeah.
middle on that.
All right.
We
Look
met
at
on
that. Look at us.
Also, Aisha's
Compromise.
her the way her parents met too. Didn't you? This is me stalking you. Didn't you say like they thought they were
Badminton?
meeting somebody else, and then
Oh.
they just had the date anyways?
So, okay. Yes, I have a whole joke about this where like they met playing badminton randomly at like the gym.
Badminton.
I know. My mom was playing, first of all, my mom was playing badminton by herself. Already a red flag, right? Like that's weird. Anyway,
This is the most random set of
it's
details I've ever
so
heard.
there should be one of
Nigerian
these
man,
for them.
Canadian
It sounds like a
villager
scam
playing
someone's
badminton.
created.
It does sound like a scam.
It sounds like a scam.
They were like, okay, we're gonna meet up for our first date, like in the quad, but like they don't have cell phones, they didn't have any of this stuff. They didn't have a phone, you know. So just like, we'll meet this day at this time. And like my mom was like, I didn't remember what he looked like. Because it's the first black man I had ever met in my life. So she's like, I just went to quad and like looked for a black man. And I was like, that's so fucked up. And then, but the joke is, and like, my dad did say this in not so many words, but he was like, oh yeah, like I thought that she was the white woman who I had played badminton
He said the
with.
same thing?
So I was like, this is so funny because I'm like, in the
Right.
joke, I talk about, I think actually my parents were meant to be two completely other people
Yeah.
who were meant to meet at the quad, but instead these idiots got together and
Right.
like, that's what happened. But it is kind of funny how like, I think it's just a different time though then, right? Where like you had your person, you're like, great, I'm going to commit. And there wasn't like 700 options like there are now. So you're like, cool, like we'll make this work. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's messing us up on every single level.
Yeah.
You know, decision fatigue, all that. Anyway, we're going to stick to weddings for now. AITA for backing out of my friend's wedding after she gossiped about my breakup. My ex-boyfriend and I had been dating for 6 years and living together for 3. I've been unhappy in our ship for the past few months and decided it was time to break. I broke up with him last week. It's been super painful. There've been a lot of tears, combos, trying to navigate moving out on top of everything has been hell. For context, I love my ex, but I felt breaking up was my only choice if I wanted to be happy because things weren't getting better. On to the story. One of my friends had a bridal shower and I couldn't be more excited. Ex-boyfriend and I have been good friends with this person and their fiance. We've even gone on vacations together. Friends aware of my breakup and has seen firsthand how much I agonized over the decision. When I arrived at the shower and started greeting other guests, I quickly realized that somehow everyone in the room knew about my breakup. Throughout the night, I was approached by multiple people I barely knew who offered condolences, told me they were proud of me, asked how my apartment search was going, and prompted me for details about my breakup and impending move. The maid of honor even pushed for details multiple times in front of the bride's family, even though I was clearly trying to navigate away from the subject. The whole night felt like one of those scenes in high school when you walk into a room and notice people looking at you as if they've just been whispering about you. I always dreamed of having that moment. I played it off as best as I could and tried to change the subject whenever possible. Apart from that, I would say the evening was fine. Everyone had a lovely time celebrating the bride. But since I got home, I can't help but feeling betrayed. It feels like my friend used my breakup as gossip and shared it with a lot of people who shouldn't know my business, especially since I'm not close with them in any way. Both my ex and I are real people with real feelings and our pain shouldn't be used as gossip. I've also started receiving texts from people who attended the party informing me they've heard what happened and asked how I'm doing. While I understand intentions are positive, this feels invasive. These are her friends, not mine. I would have understand her sharing this with her partner or even a close mutual, but this is bigger. I texted her today and told her I couldn't be bridesmaid or friend. Both her and the maid of honor think I overreacted. Now I'm second guessing, thinking I was too rash. AITA.
It's probably a natural thing of conversation that comes up about if other people knew this person's partner. And they're like, oh, is that person going to come or whatever? And it's like, oh, actually they broke up, right? Because they're like all mutual friends,
They're
right?
all mutual. It's a friend group.
So I feel like I don't feel like that's weird to be talking about that because you care and you're concerned and maybe people are asking. So you want to like cut them off and be like, no, that person's not coming because they actually just broke up. It's very new. They have to move out. Let's not bring it up. And then other people are like, oh my God, are you okay? Like that whole,
I get that.
That's a good defense.
I also get, and I do always say, if you're given information, say, let them bring it up.
That's gold. I've never heard anyone
like
do that but that's so gold because you're like, this is sensitive. And if they bring it up, then you can talk. But if not, maybe they don't want to talk about it.
Let them bring it up.
Smart. That's
so
smart.
Let them tell you.
I think it's a great
But this
rule.
is what's going on.
Yeah.
So then like people don't ask. Yeah. And also,
That's
No,
so
I think it's a
brilliant.
great rule. And I think this is, I was trying to find their ages, which we don't have. I would give a slight pass. I mean, I'm a bit of an open book myself. I've had to learn to shut the fuck up.
Same.
I don't need to say everything. And I could see her defending it.
Yeah.
I think the reason you gave is great. It's like, it's just going to come up naturally.
Yeah.
And then she literally probably had the thought like, I want people to, I want her to feel supported.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so nice. I think the let them bring it up is really a very mature way to look at anything that could be touchy.
Also,
Because sometimes people have vulnerability issues. It could be about any subject.
Yeah.
I think this one's very
Or
obvious.
they're just tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to live my whole day here celebrating that. Like wanting to celebrate someone. And then they're like, oh, I'm just explaining to everybody over and over this like painful thing.
Yeah, especially if I think her issue was that she hadn't gone public with her breakup.
Oh yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
that's
it
a big
was
one too,
very
if that was
new.
the case.
And it's like, especially if it was like the longest relationship she's ever been in.
Yeah.
There's like identity questions and like, who am I? And all that stuff. I get why she feels the way she feels.
Yeah.
There's so much nuance too. Like I
Yeah.
think if someone had like a really shitty boyfriend, like douchebag, it could play better.
Yeah.
But it's like this sounds like an agonizing decision. Like she
Yeah.
loved
She
this
still
boyfriend.
loves him
now.
Like it wasn't working on some level. And,
Yeah.
Like she had to yank herself out.
I think even when it is like a bad partner, I feel like I've learned that like don't just be like your partner is bad. Like they have to really come to that conclusion themselves because I feel like like when you're like this, like sometimes you do have to like shake someone and be like, they're gonna.
But otherwise, you're just insulting someone that they care about.
Yes, exactly. Or just insulting someone they care about. And also, I think on some level, you're insulting their decision making.
Yes. People take it very personally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. That's a good observation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of defend the mouth. I would call this maybe a mouth runner, poor information control.
Yeah.
I think it's a maturity thing. I don't necessarily think it's done with malice.
No.
It's often maybe
definitely
even done with good intentions.
Also, I wonder if they're a small town.
Yeah.
You know, because like
then you should be used to that.
Yeah. Well, like I feel like if people broke up in LA, like it would cause stir, but you're also like, I have a million things to do today.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to text you if I barely know you. You know, like I'll just be like, ooh, interesting, you know, and like move on with my day. But I wonder if like these, I don't know, like it sounds like a lot of people are reaching out to her and it's overwhelming her. And like,
well, I mean, even like I get that because this is not even the same thing, but just like the frequency of people reaching out during the fires.
Yeah.
All of my Canadian people, like I would get me like multiple messages a day. And I was like, oh, I appreciate it. And also I really don't have time to write everybody back. So I was just like cutting and pasting basically. But like you can't do that if you're in person, right? If someone's like, so Janine tells me, like, tell me everything. You're like, I literally just, you want to have like a little sign on the door that's like, here's what happened, read it, and then we can talk about something else. Like, let's get over it and move on. But yeah, the in-person thing I think is this, and also uncomfortable. I don't know if that warrants being like, I'm not coming to your wedding and I'm not being your friend. I think it warrants like a really deep conversation perhaps. And then
maybe like an insider email to be like, everyone should stop talking about it. Like, just stop texting her. Like,
and I mean, I could see her being like, I don't want to come to the wedding because I don't want that to happen over and over at the wedding. But like not being friends because of it feels very, like, it feels harsh to me.
It does feel a little harsh. I feel like when you go through something very like something that questions your reality, like a breakup or something, that you are quick to just like throw people away because you're like already in such like, well, he left me, so what do I need you? Like maybe everyone's bad, you know?
Oh my God, I love that. I don't know if there's a term for that, but I've had that thought before. And I also feel like I've done that, like been rejected on a dating app and then found myself having an impulse to do it back to someone. It's like this like mirror impulse.
The pecking order kind of thing. Like I need to get, this thing happened to me, I need to get it out to the next person.
Exactly. Like echoes, behavioral echoes.
I
do think that, you know, people got to grow up. If they were in their early 20s, I would still say this person was the asshole for running their fucking mouth. But like, it's very understandable. I think it's a maturity thing. I mean, like high school is obviously like completely a rumor mill. It's like, you got to grow up and realize like, if you want people that you trust in your life, you got to shut the fuck up. And part of that is like not telling people shit.
Yeah.
And just like, I think it is easy. Like if they're like, well, the partner isn't here, be like, he stubbed his toe and is icing his, I don't know. I feel like there's excuses you can come
or like
up
even just
with.
like he couldn't make it today.
Yeah, he couldn't make it. He'll be at the wedding and then he's not at the wedding. Whatever. Who cares? Like,
I'm just inviting her.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just inviting her and I'm going to move on. You know, like you don't owe anyone an explanation.
Yeah.
I think the feelings are valid. I think you guys nailed it though. It seems too far. If it was a pattern, like she's always running her mouth, you've had a conversation before, then I'm like, no. Chatty Kathy turns into like criminal Kathy. Yeah. But like as a oneer, I'm kind of like, it's kind of understandable.
I think it's just super sensitive.
Yeah.
Like she's so really feeling on blast in like her worst thing that's ever happened. And now everyone's like, we feel so bad for you.
Yeah. You're like, don't. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I did this with a friend really bad. I was young. He had gotten divorced and I thought it was like funny and interesting. It was like my first divorce friend. And I'd be like, yeah, this is my buddy. Just got divorced.
Oh no.
And I did it like 3 times. And he was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, he just got divorced.
That's so funny. I one time was at a comedy festival and this guy was having a mental breakdown the whole festival and he kept yelling, I'm getting a divorce.
And you're like,
oh my God.
It was the funniest thing ever. But
that's where you need kids to come in and just be like, they're divorced. And you're like, I didn't say it. They said it. You can't be mad at a kid.
Can't blame the kid.
Can't be mad.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join me on Patreon. Over 200 bonus episodes. Every single episode ad-free with timestamps. Here we go. AITA for not paying for the wedding, despite promising that I will.
I already have opinions. I'm interested to hear.
One of my sons, Kai, 21M, is gay. He's not officially out, but everyone knows he is. It's just so obvious.
Okay.
He also has a boyfriend that he claims is just a friend, but we know. Last night, all the kids were visiting. We decided to order dinner, and my daughter, 17, was ordering food for everyone. I guess she thought it'd be funny to order burgers for everyone, but order a hot dog for Kai. She told him, I figured that you'd like this better.
Oof.
You know, teasing him like siblings do. One of my other sons.
Like siblings? It feels like a very, okay, anyway.
For closeted,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a little
It's a little
edge
bit much.
case.
A
It's a
little bit
little
much.
much. One of my other sons has a fiance, Nora, 29. After my daughter said that to Kai, Nora made a face as if she was disgusted by the thought of my son being gay and told my daughter, quote, don't joke about that. It's not funny. This hasn't been the first time that Nora has said something like this about Kai. She's a firm believer that Kai is straight. She's religious, so I don't think I need to explain how she feels about gay people. Here's why I might be an asshole. Years ago, I promised my son, who's Nora's fiance, that I'll pay for their wedding, but I don't want to do it. I have a gay son, and I don't want someone who's against it to be part of my family, so I told him I've changed my mind and won't be paying. As a matter of fact, if she ever says something that slightly offends Kai, I won't even attend the wedding. They think I'm the asshole.
Okay, I really thought I knew what I was going to be feeling. This just turned it all around.
It is interesting.
I love this mom's like ride or die commitment to her kid and being like, you don't like my kid? I don't like you. Like, I'm like, this is my absolute jam. This is like what I live for in life, is when people are like stuck in the mud, like try and pull me out. I'm not moving an inch because I believe in what I'm doing and it's the right thing. And I'm not going, oh. So I applaud this mother. This is the kind of mom I am. I think this is why.
I might defend a bit.
My only concern is Kai, and where Kai, like, she says he's in the closet, right?
Yeah.
And maybe secret boyfriend. So, and like, you know, it is 2025. People be wheeling and dealing all sorts of different shit these days. But like, I guess my concern is if she's like saying like, I'm not paying her for your wedding because you don't like gay people, you don't like Kai. And Kai's like, well, thanks for outing me.
Right, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so like, I feel like she'd have to be careful.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be supportive of her not paying for the wedding because she thinks this woman is very bad for her.
She sounds like the woman sounds like the
family.
worst.
Yeah.
That's kind
And
of
so I feel
my
like that
thing.
could be the
Yeah.
thing.
This certainly sounds good. So I feel you, Aisha, because I am like, yeah, lay down the law. It's bigotry.
Yeah.
It's bigotry and it's hateful.
Yeah.
You know, like even if you're religious and you don't think gay people should be married, you don't need to be hateful or bigoted.
No,
Yeah.
you can just
don't
shut
fucking
the
say
fuck
it.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
Have you considered?
Shut the fuck up or we'll
Just
run you out of town.
Don't say it. But I do think I'm like, this does seem like we're rather far gone for this now to be kind of the revelation, right? In other words, did you not bring up, like, it shouldn't be a surprise. In other words, she should have been like, hey, I'm a little worried about Nora. She's been saying these comments. It's like, we're already at the point where we're having the wedding funds pulled. Like, that just feels like a weird random thing.
What I
Does that
want
make
to know
sense?
is, are they getting married? Because it sounds like there's not that they're getting married. She just
The
extended her
okay,
offer.
that's good. That's good.
Right?
You might have me there.
Hypothetical
Yeah.
idea of getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we don't know like where they are in talks of conversations of marriage. And also when this incident with Kai, this hot dog gay
Also,
incident.
can we talk about the hot dog incident?
What can
That's
we read
also
it again?
problematic.
Like what happened?
I feel like she
didn't
should also be mad at her
understand
kid who ordered a hot dog
Okay,
for
but I
her.
think that bit flew. I think the bit flew.
it. Wait, can you say what was
That's
the
my-
what was the
I think it
bit?
flew.
What was the bit?
The bit was we decided to order dinner, and daughter 17 was responsible for ordering food for everyone. She thought it'd be funny to order burgers for everyone, but order a hot dog for Kai. She told him, I figured you like this better, you know, teasing him like siblings do.
Okay.
Like everyone
and then,
else is having burgers. He's
and
having...
Nora made a gay comment about the hot dog.
She was like disgusted at the fact that he might want a hot dog more than something else.
over a burger.
Is what I
sorry.
interpreted it to
Okay,
be.
I had a hard time following that. for
I
some
feel like
reason.
there are two
Okay.
offenses in this. Nora being Nora.
Yeah.
And also
Well,
the
I-
hot dog gag, which I feel like is a little bit like...
This is
It's
a little
an open
outing.
secret.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's an open secret.
Okay.
Everybody knows Kai's gay.
If
He's
that
But
like,
if he
is-
hasn't said he's
yeah,
gay,
exactly.
then it's still
well, he
outing.
hasn't verbalized that he's gay to the public, and it's not on his
I
social
feel like that's
media
like
profile.
coming out. That's the whole thing of coming out, isn't it? Like verbalizing and being like, okay,
Or
this is how I identify.
You can come out, I guess, in phase. Like, I guess there's no rules. Like, you can come
No.
out to your family and then keep it from
But it sounds like
work
he hasn't
and-
done any of that. It
That's
sounds like
what-
he's
yeah,
just,
that's
like,
my
has a
big
friend,
concern.
and they're all like, he's gay, and he's like, maybe he is, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just like pan, and he's like, I got a girlfriend, I got a
Right,
boyfriend.
exactly.
That's what
I
I'm
got-
saying,
It's like,
yeah.
whatever.
I'm reading this as this was like a family event. Everyone there knows he's gay. It's like, it's fine. He just doesn't want to be out to the public. So like, you know, his friends or whatever at school might not know or whatever, or he's 21. So his university people or his professors don't know. He's not like obviously gay. And so, yeah, it was a bit.
Also, what if he doesn't like hot dogs?
Yeah.
Like the actual food. Like, why are you ordering his food?
I was gonna say, I think he didn't love it.
Yeah,
he was like, he didn't laugh, but he wasn't mad at it. He was just like, good one.
I think the reason I feel protective of the Kai outing is like I have had gay people in my life where they were friends or family, and we all were like, they're gay, and like, but they took their coming out still like so seriously, or when we did make those jokes. Like maybe not even at them, but just like gay jokes that like their face would fall. And so like, I guess I feel like if he hasn't come out and said it, I think you can be mad at Nora for being homophobic in general and maybe not a good fit for your family. But if Kai's voice is like also important here, I think.
And it's not really represented
It's
at
not
all.
being represented. Yeah.
Yeah.
AITA for not paying for the wedding despite promising that I will. Aisha actually moved me by saying it doesn't appear that they actually are going to get married. So this does seem to me like mom or dad, whoever wrote this, kind of being like, nah, not that.
Yeah.
Not her.
It seems more of like, I don't think you should marry this person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Less about the whole
Exactly.
situation.
More of like a family
as a whole
verdict.
thing,
Like, we hate your woman.
Exactly.
Like a lady.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if it was like, oh, we're getting married, plot
Yeah.
twist, then I'd be like, okay, well, you should have said something before, kind of hands
That's
off.
why I think I had that such a big reaction for just like the title, where I was like, oh, now you can't. People start planning a wedding and taking all these like
Yes.
things. You can't just take that
Yes.
away. But it sounds like that's not what happened to me. So I'm okay with it.
All right, this is a classic one. I feel like it's obvious and men need to learn this lesson, but you know, this comes up in life.
This comes up.
AITA for telling my fiance I don't like her wedding dress.
Oh gosh.
My fiance and I are getting married in 9 months. She's been dress shopping with her girls for months now. She found the dress she loved and bought it and was too excited to keep it a secret. She showed me pics of the bridesmaids' dresses and I told her they were pretty. It matched the groomsmen's suits as well. Anyway, she brought her dress out and asked what I thought. I specifically asked her if she wants the God's honest truth.
Oh my
wow.
God.
And wants me to critique the dress, or if she knows she loves it and just wants to show me. She said she wanted my opinion.
No.
She put the dress on and came out of the bathroom, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed. She's a beautiful woman and looks incredible in anything, of course.
Apparently not. If she's got something on and she doesn't think she looks good. Okay, please go on. Please go on.
But the dress dwarfed her. It didn't fit the wedding theme she's worked hard for. She wanted a foresty, magical, whimsical theme. Flower crowns on the bridesmaids. But she chose a sparkly dress with a huge skirt, which looked nothing like the simply body-hugging, sexy dresses she had repeatedly showed me. She picked basically a huge Disney princess dress, and I didn't like how it looked. I was honest. I told her I didn't like it, and I was surprised she picked it because it just doesn't seem to match her, and I just thought it was too much poof and sparkle. She got quiet and stormed back upstairs and then stormed out of the house and went to her mom's, texted me saying she couldn't believe I would say I didn't like it and what a D-head I am, and I blocked my number. This is our first major fight, and I'm annoyed because I asked if she wanted a real opinion, and she said yes. AITA for telling her I don't like the dress.
I just want to say I can't believe this is their first major fight.
I know.
Yeah.
That's problematic.
That's
a red
problematic.
flag.
I'm
It's a
like,
red
these
flag.
people have met each other for 2 weeks. If that's the first major
This is actually
fight.
the courthouse person
yeah,
writing
right,
their own
right.
thing.
He's like, I'm trying to stay in the country. Please help me.
I have a theory that's evolving because I used to think like that. I've softened a little bit. I believe there are conflict averse people, and if conflict averse meet conflict averse, they can they do this like
Be
dodgy
fine.
dance, and they actually kind of reach an understanding of boundaries without actually having a conflict.
I think that's true. I read an article about that where like some people can live like that and it's fine if they're both happy being conflict averse.
Yes.
But if you have if there's two people who like conflict, then it's easy because they'll just fight it out.
Yeah.
And if there's like one and the other, it becomes more tricky because one person's running away and one person's chasing.
Exactly. And it has
yeah.
to be that they're both respectful of each other's
Yes.
boundaries and
There's
are
a
picking
lot of
up
other
on
things.
it.
Yeah.
They don't need the directness, so they kind of eventually suss it out.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm like conflict oriented. I think I'm more conflict averse than not. Like I'm not like running to conflict,
Yeah.
but if you piss me off, I will tell
You'll
you.
say
It does
something.
take a while, but like But like, I feel
Are we good?
we're good. Yes. No, you have not pissed me off. And like, I feel like me and Mark's, like he is, I would say, conflict averse, although he can lay down the law, but very like in business, like profession, more so. But like there have been times where, I don't know, sometimes like fights we had, I was like, wow, I really did have to spell all that out. Like, and now that I did spell all that out, things seem to be better. But I can't, there is a little part that was like, wow, I can't believe I did have to spell all that out. Because otherwise you'd be like, okay, like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think that we assume that there's certain things, like there's certain things where we're like, well, everyone knows this thing, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And then everyone has those in their heads and they're almost never matching.
Yeah.
And so it seems ludicrous to us that someone wouldn't know what we're thinking or feeling.
Yeah.
Like this person, she was probably like, well, he's not going to not like my dress.
Right.
Obviously, that's like the norm and the default.
Yeah.
If he had a critique, maybe he'd be like, it looks a little long. Maybe you should get it hemmed. Like maybe that's what she was thinking. And he's like, oh, she wants me to go in.
No.
You know? So it's like that difference of understanding what those words or what that request really means to each other.
I've learned in doing this podcast that I don't care what a woman says. It could be at gunpoint. If she says, I really want your honest opinion on how I look, unless it is easily fixable and something that can be adjusted.
Well, that's the thing.
The answer is, I love it, babe.
Exactly.
You look incredible.
You can't, she's bought the dress that she loves.
Especially at gunpoint.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
it's like, she's not, what does he want her to do? Like go back and change the dress? But also I have issue with him being like basically making it about him and his gaze of like, well, I'm pretty disappointed in her choice of how I'm gonna like her dress. And it's like, well, really, she feels beautiful. And the answer should just be like, do you love it?
Yeah.
Great. Then I love it too.
I told, like, not so much about dresses.
No, you can't do that. I disagree with that. I've done that.
What did you do?
Well, I've done that. I've done that. Like, you like it, then I like it. And then, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
You just got to be like,
well, I think that then
it.
he could come in with all the stuff he said. Like, you're so stunning. Everything looks good on you. I'm surprised this is what you chose because it doesn't, like, the theme is different, but like, amazing. Like, you're sparkly. You're going to be a disco ball. That's what I would have said.
Aisha,
and I would be the best husband.
No, you wouldn't. I would not say any of that. You look like a ball. I'm not saying you look like a disco ball. You never tell a woman she's shaped like an orb. I've learned a few things in my life.
I would be very complimented being called a disco ball, just for the record, everybody out there.
What about this pitch? If he looks at it, he goes, it's so different from the other dresses.
I feel like that is a very risky thing.
You guys, the answer is, I love it.
Yeah.
You look incredible.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
Say less.
I do think, I mean, if I did tell Mark at one point in our relationship, because he did make a comment about something not being flattering. And I said, everything's flattering on me.
Yes.
I don't need your honesty.
Yeah.
I have enough critique.
Yeah.
Like
of yourself.
you are only saying
society.
positive things about how I look. Moving forward, that's what will happen.
Yeah.
And that has what has happened
Well
ever
done.
since.
I think
But
that's like
yeah.
it is a good
the
little
tyranny of positivity.
Yeah.
a little white lie. I think you're right in the end is that, especially in this case where it's such a big deal, a wedding dress for a lot of people, and she's already purchased it.
Yeah.
She's not going to return you can't return a wedding dress, especially if they've altered it to her and everything like that. There's no going back. So even if he hated it, he's got to be the person who supports her by being like, you look amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see you
And
walk
if
down the
she
aisle.
wants a Disney, also I disagreed that her dress didn't fit the theme based off what he said.
Yeah.
It's like if they're doing a forest, guess what? Disney princesses are often found in
the
forests.
forest.
So
And I think the trick is here, because I don't even think you want to open with, if she's like, what do you think? You're like, so what's that? Like, could we return this? No, you're telegraphing.
Yeah.
Do not telegraph. I love it. It's great. It looks incredible, babe. Okay. And then if she comes back with, okay, I just want to make sure I could return it, now the door is opened. But you don't ask about the return policy. Assume it's a foregone conclusion.
Well, also one of the things that had an issue is clearly he doesn't like big dresses, because he was like, I really loved the sexy form-fitting other ones.
I
do
too. I had that thought. Is that wrong?
Like that feeling. But I was like, also it kind of gave me the ick a little bit, where I was like it's the dress is for her though. It's really not for him.
That's
like
okay.
what
That's
she
helpful.
wants
I needed to hear
wear.
that, because I had the exact thought. Like, honestly, I didn't even get to that part, and I was like, I bet she went with a big poofy.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, like, do I really want my wife to show off the goods?
It's not even
it's about her.
I feel like
I needed that
her.
adjustment.
I also thought, like, I don't want to brag, but I tried on wedding dresses recently.
Oh.
And for just like also for my quince, I had a big hoop skirt. So I already had the hoop skirt. I've already had that experience. So I thought I'd want more of like a body dress.
Yeah.
And I put one on and I was like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And I don't think I necessarily looked bad, but I just was like, I don't want to be all day in something that's like hugging me in every reflection. I see everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like too, and then we went to an A-frame and I was like, this is much better. Like, there's a lot less stress on like.
An A-frame dress? I gotta look this up.
Yeah.
It's
like poof, but light.
Yeah.
So like it's like a little poofy, but it's not like hugging your hips and like
where you have
showing
to have
everything
perfect-
off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to wear pants for my wedding. And it was very hard to find formal, like flowy pants at the places I went to. But I did try on the poofiest, most Disney princess dress possible.
Yeah.
Just as like a joke.
Yeah.
Can I tell you? There is something about those dresses. I put it on and I was like, oh my God, I should wear this. I look amazing. Like I was like, there was just something about it that made you feel like you feel special.
Yeah.
You feel whatever. And it's totally societal's like what they
right.
like as kids put in your head. I didn't go with that in the end. I went with something that was a lot more like I was like, I want to eat and dance and then this is not gonna work.
Right.
But I get why, even if she was like didn't want that kind of dress, why she might have gotten it, because it does make you feel elevated, special, sequins or sparkles. Like, damn, like you don't get a lot of chances to wear that kind of stuff, you know? So like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of understanding it differently now. I like that because it's like it's not about looking your hottest per se. You want it to be like ridiculous looking.
Yes, it can be that. And I
over the top.
Yes. Like I used to have a joke about like, I want a dumb wedding. Like people are like, we should call the cops. I don't think you can have animals like this here.
I think I've heard
yeah. But like, I also like, I think it's a mix of like, how it makes you look and how it makes you feel too. Because you're gonna like, I've been in weddings where you're like helping the bride with the train and like, maybe something, you just, what do you want your experience to be, on that day? Yeah.
100%. I think we agree on this one. AITA for telling my fiance I don't like her wedding dress. Just a classic blunder, bro.
Yeah.
You also got to learn the rules.
If they're listening, can you tell us how long you've been together? I really want to know.
Give us more detail.
Yeah.
I think we're saying YTA. Rate review. And the dress was $9,000 and not returnable.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Then you're a big time asshole.
Maybe we should have a budget conversation.
Yeah, I know. That's too much for a dress.
All right, guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join me on Patreon, 200 plus bonus episodes, every single episode ad-free. We're going to wrap up on a topic we've already covered, and it's going to keep coming up. I don't know. We need to do a PSA. The government could maybe step in, not this government, but maybe a future better one. You know what it is, people. AITA for having a cousin thrown out of my wedding for not wearing white. I, 28F, got married 2 weeks ago, and I'm still getting backlash from what happened. My husband and I decided to have a child-free white wedding where the guests are in white. I personally don't like to wear white because I always feel that no matter what I'm doing, something always manages to get me dirty. So my dress was not white, but blue. This all started when I decided who would be in my bridal party. I chose 2 friends from middle school, one from high school, my 16-year-old niece and cousin. Since I was having a child-free wedding, I didn't want anyone under the age of 18, but my whole family knows my niece is my one exception. When we went to the dress shop to pick out dresses, I informed my bridesmaids they would be in black to match the groomsmen. Everyone was on board with the color, and we found a dress that fit everyone, and the top could be adjusted for comfort. Everything was going great until my cousin asked why my niece was getting the same dress. So I told her she was a bridesmaid. Cousin said she assumed she was there for a flower girl dress since I'm not inviting anyone under 18. And if I needed another bridesmaid, her daughter could do it. Told cousin no, and her daughter is a guest. Things got awkward, but we were done, so we left. I took my niece out and explained she was a bridesmaid, and that wasn't changing. Everything was going great after that until bridal dress shopping. At that point, I'd done a lot of research to find the dress style I liked and who had the color I wanted or could get. I went to the appointment with my bridesmaids, my parents, and in-laws. Everything was fine, but I didn't like anything I picked until my mom found a dress I didn't think I would like, but ended up being the one, and they could get it in my color. We were all happy until my cousin said something that made me snap. She said I should pick a dress that made me look prettier and not as fat.
Whoa, okay.
I blacked out and said a bunch of things I shouldn't have, and then kicked her out of the bridal party and the wedding. A few days later, my aunt, who I love and respect, called to ask for my cousin to be invited as a guest. I did feel guilty about the things I said, so I said yes. Fast forward to the wedding, and it was my turn to walk out, and the first thing I see out of the corner of my eye is gold. My cousin sat in the middle row on the aisle in a gold strapless dress. I wanted to cry, but we continued on. And once we were finished, I told my wedding planner to have her kicked out and kept away. A few things could have stayed, but she should have followed the dress code. My aunt thinks I could have asked her to leave instead of having security throw her out and embarrass her. AITA.
I want to. Have you ever had to kick someone out of a wedding?
No.
Okay.
No, I have not. Which is, I think that's a very, very tricky situation.
Yeah.
Because it's embarrassing. It makes a scene. It's uncomfortable for everybody. And I feel like almost always people would regret it.
Yeah.
Kicking somebody out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it also is like, if it's something that's upsetting her visually, it's not just someone who she doesn't like a visual thing where it's like, that's catching her eye and like, irking her. Maybe there's a different story there, but there's so much in this story.
Yeah, let's go to the first beat. So the first beat is, and I think in normal circumstances, I might give this a pass, but she said that I should pick a dress that made me look prettier and not as fat. Now, obviously, that's
no good. That person shouldn't be in your wedding party if that's a comment that they actually said to you.
Right.
And it wasn't just in their head.
I think in a different context, I can see that being reasonably acceptable between women. No. I'm asking you guys.
I guess, I mean, I would not let anyone talk to me that way.
I would never ever say that. I would never say that to someone I didn't like. I would absolutely never think that or say it to anyone I loved.
think there are women out there who say that thinking they're helping.
Maybe.
But they're not my friends.
So that's like a known word we just wouldn't use. What is there a more sanitized version if a dress made
I'm just always like, how do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
You wouldn't say unflattering even?
My opinion doesn't matter in this situation.
Really? So if you were out with like shopping and she's like, does this look flattering? Would you say no?
If I was like, oh, you're when you bend over, your ass shows, right? Then I'd be like, okay, well, this is just something you should know because you might not know when you're trying it on.
Yeah.
But like about if it looks good, if she likes it and it looks like she feels like it looks good, there's no way I would ever say like you look fat.
Yeah.
If anyone like if I could even like push my brain to the end of the spectrum of uncomfortability, I would be like, maybe like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, that's great. Let's try on some other ones and see what you think because there might be something that, you know what I mean?
So that's how you would do it.
But I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I just think it's like, it's so
even
not my
among
business.
women, really, there's kind of really no,
Well,
I don't know. I would
follow the
never-
momentum.
It's also like, I think what makes you look fat these days is up for debate. Like, I think people are embracing.
What if you
bigger
thought it was just
bodies.
ugly though? You don't, I
Yeah,
know that's
but,
like political. But if it was ugly, you thought it was ugly. Would
I
you?
wouldn't say
Again,
anything.
it
You wouldn't say
really,
anything.
like, it's really like, what do they want? Like, weddings can be ugly.
No, not
And,
wedding.
like,
I'm not talking about wedding. I'm talking about a more
just, like,
normal situation.
normal. I mean, if I know what look they usually like and stuff, I'd be like, this looks not quite like what you're usually going for or something like that.
Okay.
But like, I'm also like I said, like, this is my favorite outfit. So I need so much intel on like whatever visually you're trying to pull off, because like, for me, like, I'm very, I feel like most of my friends are very comfortable in jeans and sweatpants. Like, we're not fashionistas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't really like go shopping. Like, I ordered these pants off of JCPenney's. I ordered one and I ordered 4 more because I love
them.
the way they fit. And that's like the end of my shopping for the year.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not brought into like dressing rooms and asked for opinions. Usually I'm asked to leave if we're talking about fashion in any way.
Wow.
Because,
I feel like I also think I have very basic fashion and then I have like basic everything and then I have like wild things that are like, I think a lot of people don't like, but I'm like, great. Like, I love this thing and it really doesn't matter to me if you like it or not.
Yeah.
And I often see people's fashion and I'm like, oh, I don't get it. Like, I wouldn't wear that. I don't think it goes together, whatever. But like, I'm also, maybe it's just like an imposter syndrome where I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm fashionable. So like, how would I know what's good fashion or what like looks good on people or whatever? So I can't even imagine a way with a friend where I'd be like, oh no, that looks bad and you look fat. Like, there just would never, ever, ever happen.
I feel like you'd have to be like sister close to be like, I don't like this on you.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And but that's your rapport all the time. Not just about fashion, but just like, don't do that. That's stupid. But it's not even necessarily like, but it's your rapport like that. Like,
she says that stuff to me, but I would never say it back to her. But I'm like, but I was saying that, I'm like, but I get that that's her personality.
Yeah.
And she's never, ever doing something to be mean. She would just be like, no, I don't get it.
Yeah. There's
like that.
There's a scene in in Fleabag where she's shopping with her old friend, the blonde, and she shows her a top and she goes, oh my God, that top looks awful. It's so bad on you. And she goes, I wore this top into the shop. And then they like laugh. Like I can get something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I just think like for me, the heightenedness of the wedding dress, I'm like,
So you're telling me you guys don't really keep it that real. Is that fair to say? I mean,
I guess, but it's
I think that's
also
a pretty
like
big gap.
real.
I think
real
look
is
amazing in like everything.
Yeah,
though.
real is up for like, what do you like? My opinion of them isn't what's important. What's important is what they're going for and what they look like.
Okay.
So like, if I'm like, yeah, and some people don't like. I feel like when people say that looks flattering, they immediately think it means you look slender.
Yeah.
So if that's not what you're going for, then flattering is a different.
Because I might be like, oh, you look fat in that. Like your booty looks fat. Your tummy's looking good. Like it might be like a good thing. Like
So it's kind of like if you're helping someone do this, you would be like, what's your energy about it? What's your goal? And then does it fulfill that goal? That's
I feel
is
like
that fair?
Not even.
How do you feel about it?
I would be like, I feel like this is my thing for wedding dresses. You can tell when someone likes what they're wearing.
Yeah.
Instantaneously.
Right.
They might be like, oh, this looks cool. And everyone's like, it looks amazing. They're like, yeah. But when they come out in a dress that they love, and there might be multiple things that they love, you can tell instantaneously
like
if they like it.
If they like it, if
Got
they
it.
feel sexy, if they feel good, and if they feel confident, which is the most important, you can see it on their face immediately. And it's funny because I always felt that way. And when I tried on dresses, my friends took picture of me in every single dress. And I could, you could see, you could viscerally feel from the photo the difference when I was in the wedding dress that I chose, because I was like joyful, happy, glowing. And the other ones looked good and I liked them. Yeah. But it was just a different feel. So I feel like if this person comes out and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the one, and you're like, no. It's just like you're yucking so hard on their yum that it's like you just shouldn't do that as a friend.
Yeah.
Okay, this is super clarifying. I think I get what you guys are putting down. It's not keeping it real. I just think guy culture is a little different. I wouldn't like this.
I think
if people are like, how do you feel about what you're wearing? I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
I need women to like it.
I live in guy culture as well when it comes to what I'm wearing. I'm like, I have 5 shirts like this. I'm gonna wear one every day this week. But like I know my usually like female friends or whatever, femme people or whatever, like they put a lot more time and energy into that. And like I wouldn't wear everything my friends wear, but it looks like she is glowing in it.
Right,
so I'm so happy.
And I will say Josh is my stylist. Josh is the one who goes shopping. I hate shopping, and he picks out stuff for me. He puts outfits together where I'm like, that's gonna look horrible. He's like, just try it on. And I'll put it on. I'm like, it's horrible. And then he's like, look yourself in the mirror. And I look, I'm like, I'm stunning. Like he's just so I feel like my female friends to go shopping with are Josh. He's the person.
Mark,
he does not miss.
Mark is my stylist in the sense he buys me punk rock t-shirts and then we wear them together.
That's cute. So I think this comment has been well established as just completely unacceptable, and it sounds like it was wild. And I do think in a normal context, it would be like, you absolutely can't do that. But if OP had a blackout in a normal context, not a wedding, and then said a bunch of really, really fucked up things, she didn't give us anything, but she said she blacked out. So I'm guessing it was pretty heinous. But I'm like, in a wedding context, you should turn up that sensitivity to 1,000%, bro. Like you need to be so careful.
Yeah.
So I give her a pass for that.
Yeah.
I do. I think you get a pass. I don't think that's being a bridezilla. I think the other person was being really callous. Yeah. Then she shows up to the wedding.
Can we just go back first of all? Also, that cousin is the one who was like, why is this person here? My daughter can be this person.
Right.
Which just feels like all wrong on so many levels.
Boundary pushing. Trying to manipulate.
You don't get to choose who's in the wedding party for somebody else. That's so wild to me to even think to offer that. That's like, what? Like, what world are you in?
Yeah. I agree. I was gonna bring that up that she was trying to kick the niece out for some reason.
Because she's under 18.
Yeah, and she had to be like, the niece is staying.
Yeah.
Get a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonkers. But and then so that was a big strike one. I do think OP was like, I think this is a thing that people can do, which is why I always say try to walk away or get space if you're getting heated.
Yeah.
Because then she put herself in a position where her own guilt kind of blinded her. Like, no, this person boundary pushed and took a pot shot at you.
Yeah.
It's like, we were fucking done with them.
Yeah.
But now, because you did something responding, now you're like, oh, I feel guilty. I feel bad. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't change the fact that she's firing off pot shots. So then she lets her come, and sure enough, what does she do? She shows up in gold.
the gall. I just think it's
the gall.
I kind of like there's something about me because I don't know these people and I have no vested interest that I'm kind of like, I need to know this woman. Like, what is her deal?
Gold
Because
girl?
the gold girl, like, I'm
yeah.
like, what is it? Like, was
She sounds
knew.
miserable.
She sounds miserable, but like in an amazing way where you're like, I just want to
Exactly.
watch this destruction.
Yeah.
Because like, obviously she knew. She was part of the wedding party, so she knew all the rules of
Right.
what the colors were and stuff. So to be the only person who shows up and in gold of all colors, not like beige or off-white as like a little fuck you, like a big old, I'm in the middle and I am glowing.
I want to date
Is a
Gold
lot.
Girl for 3 months and and I'll be the best sex of my life and she'll ruin me for years. Just nightmare. So, okay, the only thing, and I think I'm really going to defer to you here, is I can't ding on this note. It doesn't make sense to me. Was there anything offensive about asking her to leave? But that's not what OP did. They had security throw her out.
Yes.
Okay.
If someone, first of all, if someone is doing something we should always just start with conversation, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like one-on-one conversation or whatever. I get that it's her wedding. There's a lot going on. But if you're really offended by it and it's someone who's close to you that you kicked out of like you have a history just within this wedding of like stuff, like go up to her and just be like, hey, and give her the benefit of the doubt. You might have forgotten that it was an all-white wedding. Can I get someone to run out and grab you a white dress so that it's not whatever, which is already kind of like a diva move. But like, if you're going to then ask them to leave, you have to do it. You don't get to call security because that is like embarrassing. That's something that's going to be a whole thing at the wedding. It's like a family brawl in the parking lot. Like getting security to physically remove somebody from a wedding is a huge deal.
Yeah.
You could have done it yourself. You could have had your groom do it. You could have like a family member just be like, look, this isn't cool. Like just go, we'll pack you a plate. Like, get out.
I love that she has security to ask
Oh
her
my
to leave.
gosh,
I'm
why
sorry.
though?
I wanted to give it
do.
to you, Aisha, but I can't
I
hear
do
it.
because
I'm with you.
she eroded her boundaries
Yep.
so many times.
Yeah.
And she tried to play nice
Yep.
so many times.
Yeah.
And this woman just kept coming at her with like indecency and brutality. And it's like,
Yep.
fine, unleash the dogs who are people who are paid $10 an hour and they probably won't really do a good job escorting you out. But
Release-
oh well, yeah.
Release the hounds.
Yeah.
And then it's some
excuse
portly.
me, sorry.
Yeah,
please,
exactly.
maybe a little bit.
They're like,
Yeah,
this is awkward. I don't know you, and I'm literally. I thought I'd stand here for hours and do nothing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
now
He's like
I-
a portly
yeah.
55-year-old guy. He's
Yes.
like, honestly, if you run, I won't be able to catch you.
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
yeah.
I need you to go.
I would like you to leave. Yeah,
Please
yeah.
don't make it a thing. I don't want to run.
I just feel like there's consequences afterwards to like, she respects the mom so much. The mom like asked her, like, I just feel like there's so many things with family where like, she did erode her boundary. I think that's a great point. Like you can't, if someone just keeps coming at you, eventually you have to be like, look, but I think almost it's better to be like, I'm not scared to come and then talk to you because you've eroded my boundaries. Let's do this.
I feel
I'm
like
not
I
with
would
you.
do that. I would do that the next day, but it's like
She had
her
multiple
day.
strikes, Aisha.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to try to spin this phrase right now. Your passive savagery does not deserve my diplomacy. Be gone! Release the hounds! I'm done.
I agree. Also, I'm like curious if this woman's like an addict or something. The gold woman, like because
There's
she
something
just,
else.
She addicted to something.
She's addicted, especially if you have like a parent calling, being like, please, please, like let them calm and stuff. I also just feel like I'm like 2 seconds into planning my wedding, but like you really get to see people like I think are just excited to be excited about something. And they kind of forget that this has like nothing to do with them in a way.
Yeah.
And they have like their ideas and dreams. And you're like, oh, I mean, yeah, I'm open to all pitches. But like, you know, it is like weird. Like this woman, this cousin, I feel like she probably was really excited to be a bridesmaid and like overrode her enthusiasm thinking like, and then that's why she wore gold. She was like, well, if you don't love me for trying to help, I'm going to ruin your day.
Yeah. I feel like she's
you
like,
know?
I still want to be special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she should have just worn black.
Yeah.
I would have respected wearing black better because they were already going to be wearing black. Weren't they all going to be wearing black, all the bridesmaids?
Yeah, but she wasn't bridesmaid.
But that's what I mean is like, if you're going to come and do it, then be like, I was kicked out, but I was supposed
so
to be
you
a
dabble in
bridesmaid.
terrorism yourself. Is that what we're hearing?
I would never do it.
Is that
Here's the
what
thing.
we're
I think
hearing?
I'm also very like naive about this stuff because at our wedding, I was like, literally, I was like, I nipped it in the bud. I was like, nobody who could even possibly be a problem is allowed to come to the wedding. We'll be invited.
Covered
That's
your
that.
bases.
So like, there was just like one of my friends didn't come because he was like, oh, and we're great friends now, but we had this sort of a falling out where he was like, I can't come because Trump is president in your country. And I was like, what does that have to do with me or our wedding? And he's like, well,
Right.
you're going to be in America. And I was like, that's the stupidest idea. And I was like, what's the real reason? And he wouldn't give me one. And then we just like, we have a very jokey, roasty energy.
Yeah.
So then we started just roasting each other about different things. And he just got engaged. And I was like, well, I'm not going to come to your wedding then. He's like, well, you're not invited. And then it was like, and then after a while, we were both like, wait, are we being serious? It got really weird.
Yeah.
And so like, that was the biggest drama I had of my wedding. And he did it and he wasn't there.
Okay.
But we're like fine now. Like we,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We kind of, I don't know what's going on in his life, but I was like, cool. If this is what you're bringing, like, don't come. I don't want you
Right.
there. And I was not invited to his wedding, but like, then we've kind of, the aftermath is what I always think about, right? Like if this is someone who's close enough to be your bridesmaid, the aftermath, if you're going to have them in your life, is going to be hard.
Yeah.
And just like thinking about that. I have a bridesmaid who I don't even talk to anymore because a
Really?
lot of stuff happened at our wedding that like I was kind of like putting a blind eye to for like red flags leading up into there. And then I found out a bunch of stuff right afterwards. And I was like, oh, I'm done with you then. You're cut off.
Yeah.
You're out. I don't care if you're in all my pictures. It's fine, but we're done.
Yeah.
But like the aftermath can sometimes be like a lot from a wedding,
Right.
especially if there is drama. So I just think I'm in this way of like, well, mitigating aftermath by like being as humane as possible. But I also completely agree that like if someone just keeps coming at you with like these boundary things or whatever, she should have just not invited her. She should have just like held her ground and been like, I don't want this drama.
Yeah, I
Truth.
agree. Also, I'm going to be consulting you for my wedding.
Oh,
you
absolutely. I
have to.
love
You
weddings.
have
I will
to.
help in
Honestly,
any way that I can.
guys, we could be a new wedding squad. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
for
kind of feel like this
real.
wedding episode kind of slapped. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Oh, I was like, what am I pointing at?
AITA,
Gotcha.
remember these are called cameras. AITA.
I thought you were just like let us know. And I was like, what are we sure? I was
There's
like, great placement. Looks
There's
good.
a man
I love
outside
it.
the window.
There's a man. These aren't real cameras. This is actually
These
a
aren't
live
real.
show
There's just
for
some really
one
tall
man.
guy up there
Yeah.
looking. Got
AITA
it.
for having my cousin thrown out of my wedding for not wearing white. I think Kari and I are aligned here. We are at not the asshole and gold dress is Aisha.
I think I'm gonna have to lean toward your side
Okay.
in that
God.
she's
Very
not,
Canadian.
She's
of you.
not the asshole for kicking her out because I think that's the base question. Am I the asshole for kicking her out? I think though it could have all been avoided if she just didn't re-invite her.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Agreed.
And
Fair
she has to
enough.
take some responsibility for that.
Maybe, a lesson in trusting your gut.
Yes. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Positive spin.
I'm preaching that all day.
Mhm.
Kari and Aisha, this has been an absolute blast.
It was
Thank you
so
for
fun.
joining me. Feel free to plug away any plugs or whatever you guys want.
Oh, I'm starting a new podcast with
Ooh.
Jonathan Giles, who is one of my besties and a hilarious comedian, called Let's Get Biblical, where he grew up super religious and I did not. And so sometimes when he tells me
Oh.
Bible stories, I'm like, wait a minute, what? And
Can I be a guest? Oh my God.
Yeah, yes.
That's
So
hilarious.
we will be going through Bible stories. It's not a religious, it's not like an accurate thing. It's just like kind of like drunk history meets like Bible
Okay.
stories.
The country
Okay.
needs it.
Yeah. So
The title scared me a little bit.
Yeah, I
was
know.
like, who did I just platform?
it's all very positive and inclusive and
Yeah.
like from a place of love and silliness.
And
I
just like
love
it.
looking at it, really.
Looking at it
Yeah.
and being like, what? Because we're like also like maybe some of these stories were true, but like they're being interpreted in these weird ways that are like
I would
it's
agree.
Like, he's like maybe when like Jesus walked on water, he's like maybe he was just a really fast swimmer, and someone's like
Yeah.
it's like he's walking on water.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
a
yeah,
story
yeah.
that's been perpetuated. So stuff like that. But we're just starting it up. It'll be coming out close to Easter.
Nice.
But
That
all
is
the
Jesus'
episodes
big
will
day.
come out.
Yeah.
Big day for
It's a
Jesus.
big day for Jesus.
That's
for
like
Jesus.
the Jesus.
That's
Yeah.
the Jesus day.
So that's something.
Awesome.
And you can always just like follow me on Instagram at Aisha Alpha. And I post about shows and about other projects.
Love it.
I also have a podcast. It's Kari's on Ghost Detective.
It's so good.
It's so fun. Aisha's a guest. We're gonna have Danny on soon.
Ooh.
And it's a podcast about ghosting stories, and we try and solve while you got ghosted. And this season we even did like Vampire Diaries, talking about emotional vampire.
Oh, I love that.
Oh boy. Classics.
It is always easy for them to talk about the emotional vampire.
Oh, yeah.
So far.
Classic
Yeah.
characters. All right, guys. Well, this has been an absolute blast. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.